All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you so much for joining me today and for waiting patiently for the intro to finish up. It's Friday. I hope everybody's doing well on this Friday. And we have quite a bit to go over and discuss about specifically PlayStation and the business side of PlayStation and some things that Sony is seemingly confirming, answering some questions that many people have been asking for quite some time. So this is all stuff we're going to be covering today and talking about. Chris, thank you so much. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. If you hit the like button 100 times, it will not give me 100 likes, but you know I appreciate it, Chris. You know I appreciate it. I appreciate that effort. And yeah, guys, we have already over 100 people here joining us in the stream. Please take a moment and hit that like button. We're at 23 likes. Hitting the like button lets me know you enjoy the content, and it helps. It helps push the streams out into the algorithm. So let's see if we can push for 50 likes. I'm sorry to hear that, Schmidt. Yeah, it's a terrible feeling, but you're welcome, dude. Yep, we're going to be yapping about Sony today. Surprise, surprise. Make it 1,000 likes. Oh, 1,000 likes would be amazing. More anime on the way. I know, it's quite unbelievable. So yeah, what we're gonna do today, I'll probably reiterate this later on or like when more people come in, but I did set a goal for 50 members. Okay, I want to see if we can hit 50 members today. If we can do that, we will celebrate by doing a members gameplay stream where I will attempt to get the platinum for Days Gone. I only need a couple more trophies, and I figured, this would be a pretty cool thing to do. We're very close to Death Stranding 2, and I see Corey the Legend comes in, and he kicks it off. He drops the first 5 memberships on you guys, which we will immediately add to the counter. So, Corey, thank you so much for kicking it off, man. And on top of that, we have Toolman. Toolman55 coming in, dropping another 5 memberships for you guys. Toolman, thank you so much. It's been a while since I've seen you, buddy. So just like that, 10 memberships gifted, and we're already 1/5 of the way there. So good stuff. Yeah, we'll see if we can end up hitting that goal before the end of today's stream. It would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool to do that Days Gone stream with you guys. So thank you so much. We did do a members lounge earlier in the week. So if you do get gifted a membership today, or if you decide you want to become a member, you can go check that out. Still can't gift on iOS. Yeah, it is lame. It is lame. Oh, and Corey, here's your soundbite, bro.
I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be.
New goal, 100 members. I mean, 100 would be great, but that's a lot. 50 is a lot. 100's double that. So, yeah, boss heard that and woke up. And Toolman, let's see, for you, here we go.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
There you go. That's for Toolman. 55 for the 5 memberships. And Hellbound 1981 coming in from the shadows. He's like, I got to get in on this, bro. He drops 5 more member gifts for you guys. And on top of that, I Am Aodo renews their membership. Comes back to greatness awaits. And just like that, I'm sorry, Unknown. Was that really loud? I'm sorry if that scared you. My bad. My bad. JMR says, keep the train going, man. So just like that, you guys bring it up to 16. So, I mean, look, when we hit 25, we'll feed the beast like we usually do. But that's a great start. That's a fantastic start to the stream. Always appreciate that support. It only gave out 4 memberships. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, what? Hold on. YouTube system broke. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yo, hold on. That's really weird. It really did only unless it like glitched and it's just not showing the fifth one. Maybe it did give out 5 and it was supposed to be where IMAOTO renewed his membership. That's so weird. Well, either way, you know we appreciate that, Hellbound. And Hellbound, here's your soundbite, buddy. Hellbound can enjoy this stream in peace now. He was waiting for that. 6 flashbacks this weekend. I've booked appointments to see my doctor. Man, that's rough. It really only did 4. I'm sure, you know what'll probably happen at some point randomly throughout the stream? Somebody's just randomly going to get gifted when there was no member gifts dropped. And it's going to be that last 5th member gift that didn't properly distribute. But Wes is like, it really doesn't want me to get another one, man. Well, obviously, I want to encourage everybody, if it's within your means, if you're able to, drop the $5 to become a channel member, to support the channel. That's the main reason I want people to become members or gift members. It's mainly to support the content, to support the community, and support the channel. But you do get members-only content as well. If it's within your means, I'm going to encourage that. But we do have a lot of very generous people here who are frequently, gifting memberships. So if you're not able to afford it, or if it's just something you're not able to do right now, there's a decent chance you might get one at some point, unless you're Wes, of course. But yeah, appreciate that support, guys. We are going to talk about Sony's plans, though. They did their annual business meeting update, and they answered some of the more important questions. And they did so, I would say, pretty directly. Of course, there's some corporate speak, which we will, we'll read between the lines and whatnot. But I've been waiting for this annual business meeting update from Sony because, they only do it once a year. So it's called an annual business meeting update. But during a time like this, when there's so much going on, there's so much rapid change occurring in the industry, people want to know, like, all right, Sony, you going multi-platform? Are you going more multi-platform? Are you going all in? Are you planning on making any changes in that area? What about day one on PC, day and date with PC? What's your PC strategy? Things like this. These are all things that people want to know what's going on. What can we expect in the coming months, over the next year, and maybe beyond that in the coming years? And these are all things that Sony talks about during their annual business meeting, and I want to go over it with you guys. They do also answer investor questions. Investors are asking them about the Switch 2. They're asking them about Xbox and the fact that Xbox is slowly bowing out of the console market. They're asking some interesting questions. They're asking questions about live service. What's Sony doing there? So there's a lot of information to go over here and talk about. And I think that, I always kind of look forward to these business updates because we spend all year hearing people give their opinions or make claims of this is what's going to happen and this is how it's going to go down. But, we don't really get to hear from Sony themselves that often. You need more anti-corpo MBG back. I'm sure he'll show up from time to time. Certainly. Oh, man. Yeah, I still don't know when we're going to see Wolverine, bro. Did they ask why Concord? They did. Yeah, they actually did bring up Concord again. So, The Last of Us is not going to Switch. As far as I'm aware, no. Doesn't seem like Sony has any plans for that. All right, so I don't want to do too much reading here. I'm going to try to just kind of, I guess, translate the Corpo Talk or whatever. But let's start with the, oh my God, these websites. Let's start with the big one. All right. What is Sony going to do when it comes to expanding their games beyond the console? What are they going to do? Are they going day and date like everybody assumes they're going to with all of their games? Are they going to start dropping games on the Switch? What's going on? And before we go any further, guys, again, take a moment, hit that like button. I know we can do it. We're at 36 likes. We can get to 50. We have over 180 people here. We can do it. I know we can. I believe in you. But this is the big question that people really want an answer to. And, you know, the short answer is Sony is not making any changes. So it's not the most exciting answer, but essentially what it boils down to is if you have been paying attention to the way Sony's been doing things when it comes to their games, whether they be like internally developed first-party exclusives or second-party exclusives, if you're somebody essentially who has been clamoring for Sony to go day and date on PC, that is not happening. If you're somebody who likes that they still have games like Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Tsushima being PS5 exclusives, although eventually they probably will make their way to PC down the line, but for now they're going to be exclusive. If you're somebody who likes that, Sony is out here reassuring everybody that it's staying that way. And what's interesting is it seems like they seem to be confirming it's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. So it says here that Sony Interactive Entertainment's new president and CEO, Hideaki Nishino, was asked during a business segment meeting about the future of PlayStation console hardware and whether it could be superseded by cloud gaming. All he really said here is that no, he doesn't believe it's going to be, because based off of what Sony sees, people want the native experience. Cloud will remain an option. We all know that. But basically he's making it pretty clear that cloud gaming is not something that Sony's going to be getting aggressive with necessarily. It's just going to remain an alternative option and something that's supplemental. He also hints at the PlayStation 6. So it says the CEO went on to reference how Sony's console business has evolved into a multifaceted platform with a significant portion of the 124 million monthly active users still playing on PlayStation 4. We now have a large ecosystem of highly engaged players across both PS5 and PS4 generations, so naturally, therefore, there's a huge interest in our next-gen console strategy. While we cannot share further details at this stage, the future of the platform is top of mind. We are committed to exploring a new and enhanced way for players to engage with our content and services. So, he's not giving too much away here about the PlayStation 6. Obviously, it's multiple years away. They don't really want to talk about the PlayStation 6, but they are making everybody aware that, yes, it's their top priority. It's what they're working on. Nothing new. And so, yeah, I'm sure next year we'll hear a little bit more about that. But it goes on here. Hold on. So this is actually coming from Push Square. It says it might feel like PlayStation is throwing the majority of its first-party games on the PC these days, but the company's top dogs want to ensure the value of PS5 is not diminished. So essentially what we're going over here is Sony reaffirming that they want the PS5 to come off as valuable, and they want to keep a certain portion of their games exclusive to the console to retain that value and leverage that value. So that's what they're saying. Michael Lynch with the $5 super chat says, what's ridiculous is we will still get people claiming Sony's going day and date, even in this room. Is the Sony day and date in the room with you right now? Well, I mean, that's the thing. people are what people who continue to talk about that are doing is they're living in the future, right? They're trying to tell you that, listen, at some point down the line, Sony's going to go day and date with PC. At some point down the line, consoles are going to either go away or be completely irrelevant. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's an easy prediction to make because, yeah, when you look at every other industry and what happened to it, video games at the end of the day are not going to be any different. To me, that conversation isn't interesting, or those predictions are not interesting or valuable, right? Because it's like, do you think Sony doesn't know that? Like, do you think Sony doesn't know that eventually they probably will not need exclusives to sell consoles because consoles are not going to be nearly as desired for whatever reason, whether that's because cloud gaming does take over, whether it's because, PC, like everybody goes to PC for whatever reason, whatever it may be, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. What Sony would value, what any company would value is, can you predict when that's going to happen? Because it doesn't matter if you see what the future is going to be. If you try to implement it too soon, chances are people are not going to be okay with that. We've seen companies do that so many times where they're thinking too far ahead and they're like, well, let's just get ahead of it now. Let's just do it now. And it's like people are not ready for that, man. Like it's not time, So when people talk about the idea of Sony eventually going day and date with PC, it's like, okay, well, can you tell me when that's going to be? Well, maybe next year. Okay, well, that's what people were telling me last year. Here we are, still hasn't happened. Okay, well, maybe it's with the PlayStation 6. It's like, okay, is the PlayStation 6 out yet? No? Okay. All right, well, what then? It's like, well, why don't we just pay attention to what Sony's saying right now and what they're doing right now and focus on that and see what we can infer. And so it's one of these things, man, where I've tried to tell people ad nauseum that it's not that Sony won't take pages out of Microsoft's book or Nintendo's book, but people ignore the fact that Sony is the revenue leader in gaming. They are the market leader. They're not going to look at the overall strategy of either competitor and say, let's do that instead. Because what you would be saying is, they're in second place, let's do what they're doing, even though we're in first. They're in third place, let's do what they're doing, even though we're in first. No, what you do, if you have any intelligence whatsoever and any common sense, is you look at what they're doing and evaluate what's working well for them and see how you can potentially implement that into your own strategy. You don't copy the strategy note for note. If Sony did that, they would probably be in second place or third place. That's how, it's not difficult logic to follow. So yeah, when people say like, oh yeah, they're going to go day and date, it's like, cool, man. It's probably going to, rain sometime in the next month as well. Like, can you tell me exactly when? Like when exactly is it going to rain on the fourth week of this month? Can you tell me? So I'm saying this is what people want to do. And I guess they just want to do it because it's what they want, but it's like, I want a lot of things too, but just because I like, for example, if I tell you Sony's going to make good video games in the future, is that like, what kind of prediction is that? Like, yeah, okay. They're also going to make bad video games in the future. It's just not really relevant right now. Can I tell you what those good games are? Which games are going to be good? Which games are going to be bad? I don't know. I mean, we could get into the weeds of it, and I'll try to infer. I'll try to predict, but I don't know. And Michael Lynch with another $5 chat says, even if it takes 25 years, people will say, see, I told you so, as if it's some big win. Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest, look, Michael, those people don't matter when it comes to these conversations we're trying to have. They could be irritating, but they don't matter because they're interested in having a different conversation. And that's not the conversation I'm trying to have here. The discussion I'm trying to have here is here's what Sony said literally today about what they're going to do tomorrow and next month and the next year. That's what I'm interested in. Okay? If we look beyond that, I am interested in having discussions beyond that. And some of the stuff we go over, we will try to predict and infer as best we can. But today, what Sony has told me and you and their investors and everybody else, they just simply said, what we're doing now is what we're going to continue to do. We're not changing the strategy. That's what they said. As simply as I could put it, we're not changing the strategy. That's not a prediction. That's not me inferring anything. That's literally Sony coming out and saying, the thing we've been doing is what we're going to continue to do. Now, there is something I do want to mention, and this is why it's important to go over it all. Sony said there's no need to pivot or change our strategy right now. So we're not going to. What does that mean? It means that they are ready to change their strategy if need be. They're ready to pivot if they have to, which of course, like every business needs to be ready to make maneuvers and be flexible and make changes if they're in some kind of danger. That's just the reality of every business. But people read something like that and they take that as, well, there it is. See, they're going to go day and date. It's like, okay. It seems like people are hearing what they want to hear and reading what they want to read. Old Time Gaming 85 with the $5 super chat says, I've played on everything. I'll always want the 3 C's: console, couch, and controller. Cheers. Also, MBG, what are your thoughts on the new Silent Hill? The 3 C's, I like that. Console, couch, and controller. I agree. We'll always want that, right? I think the new, if you're talking about Silent Hill F, I think it looks good. Yeah, that's a game I would like to play. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it at launch because it's right around the same time that Ghost of Yotei is coming out. But I will get to it at some point. It's a very interesting direction that Konami chose to take Silent Hill in. And when it comes to Silent Hill 1 remake, I'm very excited about that because, I mean, I saw what Bloober Team did with Silent Hill 2 remake, and that was my game of the year last year. And yeah, dude, I mean, to me, Silent Hill 1 is almost more interesting because it's an older game. It's a PS1 game, and I feel like you don't see many PS1 games getting remade. So I have a high level of interest in it, man. And I think I'm more excited even for the Silent Hill 1 remake than the new Silent Hill game. Just because, again, I really want to see what that ends up looking like and what liberties Bloober Team end up taking, because they're going to have to take some. C3, the new E3. Uh-oh. Luna's looking like she's going to try to bother boss. She's looking for trouble. I know you guys can... Oh. Boss is like, I'm under attack. What's going on? Let me see here. So, all right. It says, in a recent Sony business interview, SIE president and CEO Hideaki Nishino and Studio Business Group CEO Herman Holst explain the approach to expanding PlayStation's reach. So this is something that's important to go over as well. Part of Sony's current strategy, and the one that they are going to stick with in the coming year and years, is they do want to expand their reach. They do want to go out there and try to find new customers. This is not new. And so, of course, they're going to have to talk about this and let investors know and let everybody know how they're planning on doing this. So they say here, we continue to look for new and innovative ways to broaden our reach and bring our content and service to the players, says Hideaki Nishino. The value of the PlayStation console is that it's still the best place to play, and it's growing its reach in even broader ways. Herman Hulst elaborates, talking about how the company is looking to grow its audience on other platforms while retaining the value and draw of its first-party software. So he says it's important to realize that we're really thoughtful about bringing our franchises off console to reach new audiences, and that we're taking a very measured and deliberate approach in doing that, he says. Particularly on the single-player side, our tentpole titles, they're such a point of differentiation for the PlayStation console. They are real showcases of the performance and quality of the hardware, so we want to ensure that players get the best experience from these titles. We're very thoughtful about how and if we bring these titles to other platforms. Nishino adds that the company needs to, quote, constantly understand our players' patterns and behaviors and ensure that we serve them appropriately. So, all right, let's, what does this translate to? Because again, there's a little bit of corpo speak here. What do you do? Oh, Luna. Oh my God. She actually opened the bag of catnip. Luna, you're being very bad. Oh, hold on. They might battle. If I wouldn't get a copyright, I would definitely play Mortal Kombat. I would have like a Mortal Kombat music soundbite that I would play every time something like this happens. Sorry, my cats are distracting me once again. Distracting from the conversation, bro. Mortal Kombat. Luna, if I reach my hand over there to close the catnip, are you going to attack me? I don't want to find out. You know what? It ain't worth it, bro. Just don't knock anything over, Luna. I don't want to find out. F around and find out, right? Meowter. I can't say that. Meowter Combat. I don't like that, Chris. Or Unknown. I don't like that. Chris, you didn't miss too much yet. Oh my God. Okay, there's like a major stare down going on. Just gonna back away. Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, boss, I guess you won that one. You did have the high ground. So, congratulations, bud. Jesus. It's like a freaking battleground over here. Fatality. Anyway, all right. Back to the topic at hand here. So let's kind of like read between the lines here. What exactly is Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst saying? Herman says here, it's important to realize that we're thoughtful about bringing our franchises off console to reach new audiences. We're taking a measured and deliberate approach. So, they say that they want to be able to expand their reach, but they want to keep the value of their PlayStation Studios titles and the console in mind. And I think basically what they're saying here is they want to continue to prioritize the console as best they can. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops another 10 membership gifts on you guys. Clearly, it was for Boss winning that little battle there with Luna. Sorry, Luna. It's okay, Luna. You're still kind of a kitten, so you have an excuse. But Corey, thank you so much for the 10 memberships, man.
Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built.
Corey's got that Pro now. That brings us to 26 members. So Corey crushes the first goal here. And guys, yeah, I want to encourage you, if you want to support the channel, support the community and the content, consider dropping some membership gifts or becoming a member. We're already more than halfway to the goal here. Again, if we hit 50 members after this stream, we'll do a member stream where I'm going to try to get the platinum for Days Gone. Okay, boss. Boss, you better get over here, boy. Luna. Oh, hold on. Leia. Oh, she was hiding. She was hiding and waiting. She's like, I'm not fighting for it. Okay, well, sorry, boss. It's gonna have to be first come, first serve, bro. Fox hunt. Yeah. That's what my cats are doing right now. All right, hang tight, boss. All right. Once Leia's finished, you're next. I know. Corey, again, thank you so much for the support, man. I really do appreciate it. I've thought about that, Diego. I'm just not a big fan of short form content like that, but we'll see what the future holds. You never know. But yeah, basically what you need to know here, the main takeaway from what Hideaki Nishino and Herman Holst are saying about them taking PlayStation games and PlayStation content and putting it off console, they're not saying they don't do it. Obviously, they do it. They're not saying they won't do it. Obviously, they're going to. What they're saying, in my opinion, like how I take this is, as long as the console is still doing this well and our own hardware is selling tens of millions of units, going on to hit 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, we're going to make sure we're not just throwing stuff out there and essentially doing what Microsoft is doing and just kind of going all in. Herman Holst says it, we're going to be deliberate. We're going to pick and we're going to choose it. Yeah, it'll be a case by case basis. And again, this isn't anything new, right? This is not anything new. This is what they've been doing. I just feel like it's important to go over because they're giving us that yearly update saying, hey, if you're wondering if we're making any major changes with this, we're not. We're going to just continue to do it the way we've been doing it. And I think that's the smartest thing for Sony to do. My opinion on what they're saying here is I think that's the best way. I think this is ideal. You have a good thing going with the PlayStation 5. It's selling incredibly well. It's on track to hit 100 million. It's on track to do just as good, if not better, than the PlayStation 4 generation, which was one of their best generations. And no one truly knows what's going to go down during the next generation. People, again, will make their predictions. They will hedge their bets. Do you believe the PlayStation 6 will do just as well or better than the PS4 and the PS5? Or do you believe that the PlayStation 6 is going to be less, right? Is it going to mark a major turning point for the console space, specifically with PlayStation? And I have no doubt in my mind that if Sony goes into the PlayStation 6 generation and it's not looking good, come on, boss, and it's not looking good, and they're struggling to keep up with the sales, and it's falling behind the PS5 and falling behind the PS4, I have no doubt Sony will begin to look deeper into, like this is where they might start to play a little bit more loose and fast, where they're like, okay, maybe we can make some of those bigger changes now because the console's simply not selling as well as we expected. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if the PlayStation 6 shows any sign of struggle, right, or if the PS5 hits some kind of wall in the next year or two where it just stops selling for whatever reason or drops dramatically, Sony is not going to do what I think some people want them to or what some people believe they will, where it's like, okay, we have to stop putting games on PC and go back to true exclusives. This is what we need to do. Come on, boss. I don't think they're going to do that. I think what they're going to do is the opposite. They're going to say, okay, well, now it's time to push out further. I think that's exactly what they'll do. I don't know where Boss went. Boss, hey, Boss, over here. All right, well, Luna's here. I think Boss is trying to be polite to Leia and Luna. At least that's what I want to tell myself, because he just beat Luna in a battle. So he's like, go ahead, you go first. And Sony PlayStation triangle button comes in and drops another member gift. Sony PlayStation triangle button. Thank you so much for that, buddy. You know I appreciate that support.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to 27, guys. Keep that member train going. I want to hit that 50 today. I want to do that Days Gone stream. That's his name. I told him this. We've agreed on this. His name is Sony PlayStation triangle button. And Sony PlayStation triangle button comes in with a super chat and says, "Hi, everyone. I'm really looking forward to MGS Delta and the upcoming Silent Hill 1, which I grew up on, PS1. Absolutely, man. Yeah, that Konami show, I feel a little bit bad because I was too focused on Metal Gear Online and that announcement they made. But that announcement of Silent Hill 1 at the end was kind of a bomb drop. It was pretty good. Actually, it was really good. I mean, we kind of knew that they were working with Bloober Team again, but they just kind of threw it out there and were like, yep, we're doing Silent Hill 1. Be excited. But Metal Gear Solid Delta, I'm right there with you. It's one of my most anticipated games. We're very close now. We're very, very close. It does feel like Konami's back. These are games I grew up playing as well, so I'm just counting down the days, man. We got Death Stranding 2 coming up, and I mean, I will be done with Death Stranding 2. At least I would hope so, unless I find out that it's like going to take forever to platinum it. But I should be done with Death Stranding 2 certainly before Metal Gear comes out. But I can't deny that right now, Metal Gear Solid Delta is my most anticipated game. Yeah, so I'm right there with you, dude. And thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate it. Where's Uncharted, Infamous, and Bloodborne? Good question. I don't think Infamous is coming back. Bloodborne and Uncharted, I think there's some kind of chance, especially for Uncharted. Yeah, Jack, I agree. Sony keeps singing the praises of Astrobot. And yeah, guys, we're at 69 likes. Nice. Thank you for that. We don't want it to linger there too long, though. All right? Let's see if we can bump that up to 100 likes. I'd really appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people want Infamous to come back. But Sucker Punch, if it comes back, it's not going to be Sucker Punch doing it. So we got to be careful. Seems like they're going to be sticking with Ghost for quite some time. But yeah, man, when it comes to the whole Sony strategy, when it comes to PC and expanding beyond the console, I think that we're in a unique period of time with the PlayStation brand where they're doing two things at one time, right? They're continuing to prioritize and support the console, and they make it clear that that's their main goal. But they're also being more open than ever before, and they're putting more out there than they ever have. A Sony published game, Lost Soul aside, that's going to drop day and date on PC. Now, that's not a PlayStation Studios internally developed game, but Sony's publishing it nonetheless. And so, again, Sony is showing a willingness to just pick and choose and be flexible in the way that they need to give each game, not even just the game, but to just position their business to maximize the potential engagement. And you think about, well, okay, if they're willing to put Lost Soul aside day one on PC, why not Ghost of Yotei? And the reality is, and it's no offense to Lost Soul aside, but the reality is it's because Ghost of Yotei is going to sell PS5s. We don't know exactly how many, but it's probably going to sell at least maybe maybe like 1 million, 1.5 million. Maybe in the long run, if they want to keep it exclusive for like 2 years or something, that's almost the remainder of the generation. Who knows how many PS5s, how many millions of PS5s it could potentially sell. A lot of people played Ghost of Tsushima, not just on PS4, but on PC. So Sony's not here saying we're never going to put Ghost of Yotei on PC. They're just saying we're going to keep this exclusive. And we don't know how long that's going to be for. And you know what? Let's talk about Stellar Blade for a moment. Stellar Blade is possibly the best example. This is something that I think is a little bit surprising because I think everybody expected Stellar Blade to do well on PC, but it's doing incredibly well on PC. And what's interesting about it is it's Sony proving that like they can get the best of both worlds. Right? They dropped Stellar Blade as a PS5 exclusive last year, and it's one of the standout titles that's on PS5 in 2024. But then Sony and the studio shift up. They take their time on the PC version, and they make sure it's going to be perfectly optimized. They go out of their way to get the PC version to a level that it'll feel like it's worth the wait, right? And I think I don't know how many concurrent users. Let me see. Hold on. I know it's up there. It peaked yesterday at 183,830 players on Steam. And it has 12,000 reviews with a 92% rating. There's 124,000 people in-game right now playing Stellar Blade on Steam. People need to understand that, if anything, this encourages Sony not to go day and date if they don't have to. Because Sony just got 2 wins. They were able to leverage Stellar Blade as a console exclusive for the first year or so, a year and 3 months or something like that. So that way they could say, hey, if you think this game looks good, it's on PS5, maybe consider buying a PS5 for it. And, how many people are going to be buying Stellar Blade on PS5 or going out of the way to buy PS5 for Stellar Blade a year after its launch? Probably not that many. So it gives the team more than enough time to get this game where it needs to be. And now it's doing incredible on PC. And PC players are proving once again that they don't mind waiting. Right? So I really do believe that this isn't some kind of platform or console war thing. This is just a business, I think, that understands that we can get the best of both worlds if we are strategic about it. Sony is not in a position where they have to make drastic, sudden, like, whoa, we need to like make a panic mode decision right now, or we got to like break the glass in case of emergency. Sony is not in that position. The PlayStation brand has not been in that position since the beginning of the PS3 era. And they have not done anything to get them even close to being in that position. This is why when you see what people say on the internet, the rhetoric and the nonsense on places like Twitter or forums or YouTube comments, the amount of times I've seen people saying like Sony's in trouble, PlayStation's in trouble, it's like I have to believe you're just joking and trolling, because if you actually think that, you are so misinformed. You should not be commenting in this space at all, And Titus Crow, sorry to keep you waiting with reading your super chat as I was going on that diatribe there. You're saying, where do you peg the PS6 power at in theory? I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by that, Titus. Like, are you talking about like in terms of PC or just like in general? Because for me, I mean, like, I don't know, like, are you talking about teraflops? I mean, oh God, is that even a metric they're going to use anymore? What graphics card? Well, the PS5 Pro is what? The PS5 Pro right now is considered equivalent to, it says the RX 7700 XT. or the RTX 4060 Ti. Does that sound correct to you guys? I haven't been paying as much attention to graphics cards these days. Austin, you think the RTX 7070 Ti Super? You're optimistic about the PS6? You're just a little afraid of physical copies? Yeah, I think that's a valid fear. I do. I don't know what Sony's going to do with physical games with the PS6, but it's at this point in time, it's a valid fear. Absolutely. Here's hoping for the best. Shift Up got exclusivity money, PS5 sales, and now full price PC sales a year later with more DLC. Win-win. Win-win for the dev, win-win for Sony, win-win for PC players, win-win for PS5 players. Everybody wins, bro. They say that PS5 Pro is like a 3090. Are you sure about that? You've heard that the PS6 will be 4090 level plus better ray tracing. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know that I can answer the question, Titus, because I feel like I'm too far out of the loop at this point with PC graphics cards to really, when it comes to like the roadmap of what AMD's expected to be announcing and coming up with in the next like 3 to 4 years. But what I can say is that my hope is that when we see the PlayStation 6, it reaches a level of graphical fidelity that, and I don't know if it's going to be possible, but it's like when I see, let's just say, Horizon 3 running on a PS6, maybe I'm sure it still will be at 30 frames. You know, they'll have a 60 FPS option, but to get the most graphics they can, it'll be at 30. But it looks somehow just demonstrably better in every way than, say, something like Horizon Forbidden West running on a PS5 Pro. But that's a tough one, right? Because it's like, I don't know if that's an unrealistic expectation. It may be, because we're talking about, you know, already seeing diminishing returns between something like the PS4 and the PS5. But then again, we don't know how crazy devs are going to go with the ray tracing, you know? Maybe lighting will be the biggest difference, where it's like, yeah, graphically there is a difference. There's higher resolution, higher frame rates, but this lighting is something that is not possible. And yeah, maybe it will be through ray tracing, right? Like this is just not possible, even remotely, on the PS5 or PS5 Pro. And maybe if they turn that up as high as they can, when people just look at it, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that difference. I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting though. I have a lot of faith in Mark Cerny though, that he's gonna cook something up real good. Yeah, and they'll obviously, AI will be a part of it. AI is going to be a major part of the discussion with the PlayStation 6. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Well, I mean, we know with PSSR that at some point Sony's going to be striving for 8K 60 FPS, and I'm like, well, maybe, oh, and also 4K 120 FPS. So it's like, I don't know how much this stuff's going to matter, you know, by the time the PlayStation 6 rolls around, you know, especially something like 8K. I would say most people, if given the option, go for 4K 120. But we'll see. We'll see. We're getting there. 2025 is flying by for some reason. $8K doesn't exist. May as well not. I mean, GTA 6 looks next level, so who knows what Horizon 3 will look like. You're still heated that Gotham is 30 FPS and laggy. Gotham Knights. If the Pro could get FSR 4, that would be huge. Well, apparently it's going to be. The idea is there's going to be a major update to PSSR sometime in 2026 that's essentially going to put PSSR on PS5 Pro at the level of FSR 4. That's what they're looking to match, which is going to be exciting, considering when you look at the lineup of games that we know about that are coming in 2026, it's like, oh, damn. Oh, damn. It's looking good. The PS5 Pro does not perform like a 4070. Again, for here, it lists, at least for the GPU performance, a 4060 Ti. I don't know. I haven't been paying much attention anymore to the PC side of things and the comparisons. So yeah, to dive a little bit deeper into the conversation, Dwayne Johnson says, MBGM sending back my Mind's Eye copy. I didn't even unseal it. It's probably for the best. Seems like there's a lot of issues with that game. That game was not ready to release. So what can we expect going forward? Truly, are people who are claiming that Sony's going to go day and date on PC, are they going to be right? Like maybe one day they'll be right. But it seems like Sony is perfectly content maintaining the strategy they have as long as the console's still doing well. So, it makes sense. I've said before how if Death Stranding 2 was announced to be launching on PC day one tomorrow, I wouldn't really care. I'm still going to buy it day one, still going to play it on my PS5 Pro, still going to love it. PC players would probably be happy. I think the question we should be asking, because this is what I would want to know, could Kojima do that if he wanted? Like, if Sony said, go ahead, you can release it day one on PC, would there even be a PC version ready to go? That's a question I have, right? Because we saw this with like Final Fantasy 16, where I'm pretty sure like the exclusivity window for that game was up for a little while, but they're like, yeah, the PC version's still not ready. So there's also, if anything, there may even be an argument that for PC players, it might be worth, waiting a little bit, right? Because it'll give the team more time to really not rush it out the door. You know what I mean? To give the proper priority that they need to the PC version. And I think for a lot of PC players, they spend so much money on like super powerful rigs. That's probably what they would prefer, where it's like you want to get the most out of it. You're willing to wait. Just make sure the quality's there. So I assume this is the strategy that Sony is going to maintain going into the PlayStation 6 generation. Something tells me that they don't want to rock the boat, especially as they get closer to the PS6. I think Sony's in a good place where people are used to cross-gen. People are used to them picking and choosing what games and when they'll go to PC. People are used to their live service games being day and date on PC. So I think what they're doing now is the smartest play. Leading into the PS6, don't rock the boat. Don't make any dramatic changes. Just take it easy. Let it flow as smoothly as it can. Check the results. And based on those results, make changes where you need to make them. What else did they talk about? So one of the things they mentioned, by the way, is for the first time this generation, there are now more monthly active users on the PS5 than PS4. And they're up to 124 million monthly active users. So we're already seeing, and I want to highlight this. This is important. I want to see if I can bring this image up. If not, it's not a big deal. But this is something that we just recently heard Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki talk about, how there's a shift to MAU, right? They're focusing and prioritizing MAU over, I'll just put this on screen here. They're prioritizing MAU over actual console sales. And, obviously this created a big discussion and a bunch of hoopla about, Sony's doing the exact same thing Microsoft is, because that Microsoft prioritizes MAUs. But in reality, I think almost every company is now shifting to MAU. I don't think that means Sony prioritizes the console any less. I just think that they're understanding that, during the second half of the generation for PS5, you're likely to see a decline in sales. And, you know, in order to make it paint a prettier picture, maybe it's just easier to focus on monthly active users. But I want you to pay attention here, where it shows the PS4 and the PS5, and they're on this bar graph, and they're together. Now, the blue represents the PS5, and the gray represents the PS4, but they're combining both users together to bring it up to 124. I think this is quite revealing, because last year, when Sony put the same image out, they split it 50-50, and they showed 49 million for the PS4, 49 million for the PS5. Now they're just showing them collectively. I don't want to read into this too much, but I think we may be looking at a little bit of a glimpse into what we can expect with the PlayStation 6. I've been telling you guys for quite some time that my prediction for the PlayStation 6 is that Sony, they are going to do their best to treat it as a brand new generation. It's going to be, you know, a true next-gen console, all that good stuff, but they're not going to hide the fact that cross-gen is here to stay. Now, I don't know that I feel confident enough to say that there will not be any actual PlayStation 6 exclusive games. I don't know. That's a coin flip. I mean, if Sony really wants to sell this thing, I think they would do well to have a couple of actual PS6 exclusives that may eventually make their way to PC, but at least at first, they're not on the PS5. But I think this is kind of a signal of how Sony's going to, you know, starting with the PlayStation 6 and starting with the PS5 Pro and the end of the PS5 generation going into the PS6 generation, they're not going to separate these things anymore. You know, they're not going to separate PS5 sales and users from PS6 sales and users. I mean, sales they might. I don't know. Hiroki Totoki just said that he's not talking about sales anymore, though. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, guys, is going forward, you know, when the PlayStation 6 comes out, you're going to see a PS4, a PS5, and then a PS6 on this bar graph, and you're just going to see the lines, the divisions, you know, the different colors, and then you're just going to see at the top the users, and I think they're just going to bunch them all together. Or when the PS6 comes out, maybe they will boot the PS4, and then just you'll see the same image, but it'll be PS5 and PS6. I just think that's somewhat relevant because it really does, I think, signal a kind of shift for the next generation, potentially, where Sony understands that developers are going to keep making games for PS5 for many, 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 many years to come. Cross-gen is something that even they're going to do with some of their games. Garrett, you think for sure there's going to be PS6 exclusives? Well, like, I'm just saying, man, that it's a different era of PlayStation. It's a new leadership. And one of the first things this new leadership decided is they want to focus on monthly active users rather than sales. Now, again, that could just be a temporary thing since they're entering the second half or the final quarter of the generation. But I'm almost just wondering if, like, Garrett's willing that he's putting 1,000 on it, bro. I'm wondering, like, let's take something like, well, Garrett, this will make for an interesting discussion. What game, let's just say one game or two. You could do one or two games. You could do two games. What two games, what do you think Sony will announce at the PlayStation 6 event? And they'll make PlayStation 6 only games. Because to me, that's where I struggle. You know? Yeah, like, I think most games will be cross-gen, but if they are going to pick and choose a couple to be Bloodborne, oh yeah, I could see that. Oh, you know what they could do? Man, they could be really cheeky about it, Garrett. They could make Bloodborne Remake a PS6 exclusive, and then, like, a year and a half later, PS5 and PC version. Oh, that would be so. Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Yes, Sony could treat the PS5 like they treat PC, bro. That would be a hell of a thing. That could work. That could work, though. You think Bloodborne Remake, Horizon 3? See, like that, but that's the thing. Like when I think about a game like Horizon 3, I'm like, there's no way that's not going to be cross-gen. Like, there's no way. I mean, that would be shocking. That because even Horizon Forbidden West was cross-gen. But you know what? Here's something else we want to keep in mind. And we don't really have an answer, though. But I guess I'll ask you guys what you think. When Sony announced at the beginning of the PS5 generation, when they announced they're doing cross-gen with games like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War, and even Gran Turismo, I think the question we need an answer to is, did they do that because of the chip shortage? Because they were like, you know what? We need to sell these games on PS4 because we're not going to have enough PS5s to sell. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if Sony never had a chip shortage for the PS5, would they have felt much more comfortable making these games exclusive to just drive even more interest and units? This is what once again, the pandemic shakes everything up, because it's like, I think right now it might be easy to say, oh, they were just doing it because because they wanted to, because they were like, yeah, we wanted to just maximize sales. We were going to do it either way. Did it ever give that other membership out? I'm not sure. Not actually sure. Afterwards, look at the cross-gen. It was very important to PS4 and PS5, yet sales followed the same curve as that of the PS4. What do you think that indicates? I mean, the big question I'm always going to have, and we just simply won't ever get an answer to it. The launch of the PS6 might be the closest thing we get to an answer. It seemed like the PS5 was kind of the PS5, I think, could have reached certain heights that no other console did. Hey, stop chewing my wires. Like, it seemed like the PS5 was on track to, I mean, really just reach a new level that we've never seen with the console before, but it was just cut down due to the pandemic, where it's like, because it was bad. I remember how bad it was. It was for like almost 2 years. But for the first year and a half, it was like, it felt like I was seeing millions and millions and millions of people were like, I want a PS5, I can't buy it. Like, it's just not available. And so, I don't know, man. It really feels like the pandemic shook everything up. I mean, obviously it shook everything up, but that's why I don't know I would love to know what Sony's feelings are on the PlayStation 6. Like, do they feel like the PS6 is going to be that kind of, okay, now we're going to be able to do it right this time. But, if it was a chip shortage that stunted the PS5 sales trajectory, this time it's going to be the cost of shipping and manufacturing. And so it'd be interesting where it's like, oh, there's another wrench thrown in. I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, like I said, I do think that chart is kind of important because, or I do think it is a little bit important because, well, I mean, as you can see here, let me zoom in one more time. They're showing you that they're making more money, per unit with the PS5 than they were with the PS4. And that's a lot of upselling. They had more peripherals. They have more service options now. It's more content. So, say a plus 26% growth. And this is good. But yeah, it does seem like the problem kind of remains for Sony, where it's like, it's great to see that growth. And again, like, that's why they're the market leader. But has the well run dry? What can they what kind of future growth can they expect in terms of new users with the PS6? And that's where things get, I think, a lot tougher. So we'll get that out of here. We have Severin Evans, a member for 8 months, who says, I've been a member for a while, on and off anyway. I'm PC mostly. This is the slowest I've seen PlayStation since I left in 2015. It's strange. It is. It is. I understand what you're saying, Severin. Hold on. Luna, you got to go. You can't chew my wires. Luna's being bad. Come on. Severin, I do understand what you're saying. Like, I think you're speaking, when you say slowest, you didn't elaborate on what you mean by that, so I can only assume. I'm assuming you mean, like, it just seems like they aren't really, what's the best way to describe it? It's not that they're not releasing games. It's not that they don't have games. It's not that they don't have, they have 2 consoles you can choose from. They have a service that's pretty good to decent. Everything seems to be fine. I'm thinking maybe what you're speaking to here is it just seems like they're not really doing anything overly exciting. They're not doing anything that feels like it has some kind of pizzazz to it or whatever. And I would agree with that, but I think it's because Sony traded in the the big show lights and the big explosions that they would have like once a year or twice a year. I think they just traded all that in for just, honestly, consistency. I think that's what, if I had to use one word to describe Sony for the majority of this generation, it would just be consistent. Where, like, I understand that people look back fondly on the PS4 generation, but Sony has, the reality is, like, Sony has done more this generation. I just think what it boils down to is that the more that they've done for some people is not what they wanted. You get what I mean? Where it's like, although I will, there's a caveat here. I would make the argument that they did not do more new IP. So that is a major thing. We still got to see how that's going to pan out for the coming years. I think they had more new IP last gen. And when I say more, I mean, I already went down everything they did for the PS4 and the PS5, and they published a lot more on the PS4. But I guess I just mean, like, this generation, they've done, I think, everything that would have been expected of them while simultaneously trying to do other things in live service. But it's just that, man, Sony will never be able to recapture what they had with the PS4 generation. Like, you talk about, like, 2015, they'll never have that again. Consistency, MVG stopped being a shill. They went all in, money and time for most studios to make games as a service. Woke games now, most studios have to start over after most got canceled. Cap. All right, well, did you not play any of Sony's games? Did you not play any PS5 exclusives, timed or otherwise, in 2024? Did you play Stellar Blade? Did you play Rise of the Ronin? Did you play Helldivers? Did you play Astrobot? Did you play FF7 Rebirth? Did you play any of these games? No? Yes? Maybe? Are you playing Death Stranding 2? Are you playing Ghost of Yotei? No? My question to you, Buckeye Blood, and I'm just asking, like, I'm not, this isn't some kind of, like, I'm gonna fight with you and call you out. No, I'm serious. Like, what do you want to see Sony do that they're not doing right now? Because, I mean, honestly, like, what you said is not true. You said, okay, well, hold on. You said they put most of their time and money to make games as a service. That's a stretch, dude. They split it in half. Actually, they had more. They seemingly had more of their studios than ever before working on single player games. It's just that they also asked a lot of them. They bought new studios. They brought in new studios. If you were to say to me, MBG, the PS5 generation is a failure to me because rather than doubling their single player output or tripling it, rather than buying new studios to make more single player games, they basically kept the same or similar cadence of single player games that we got last gen. And then they decided the rest were going to be live service that were going to fail. I could accept that. That's reasonable. Because it's like, yeah, that's a thing that happened. And if you feel like you should have had double or triple what they put out, yeah, that's fair, because I would have preferred that too. But I struggle to converse and engage with the hyperbole, not just with PlayStation, but with Microsoft, with Nintendo. Everything's so hyperbolic, where it's like, this was the worst generation Sony's really? This is the worst generation they've ever done? Really? Okay. That's like, who's doing it better? My question is, who's doing it better? Who's doing it better? Dark Horse says Xbox. Mystic Dragon says PC. Many times you're saying Xbox and Nintendo. Well, then my question is, if they're doing it better, why aren't people playing over there then? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if Sony is dropping the ball that bad for like so many of the people that I come across, it's like, why are you even still talking about them then? Because it's like, dude, it's been this way this entire gen. And we're going over their business segment meeting. It's like, they're not changing anything. And it's like, if you do, and I'm not here to say that somebody else is doing it better. I was just asking because I was curious what people had to say. Whoever is doing it better, that's probably where you should be playing then. You know? That's probably where you should be spending your time and money. But I don't know. I mean, I get it. I've been there. Like, I guess I'm just saying that's the best thing you can do. But I've been there where, like, I think a lot of people feel towards Sony these days the way I felt towards Xbox, where it's like, I liked Xbox, but I think that there's a lot of things they could do better or differently. And then the years went by and they just weren't. And they were going in a different direction. And I'm like, eventually you just got to accept that this is the direction they're going in. They're not going to do what it is I think I like, what I want them to do. But let me see. I missed a Dark Horse with 2 super chats. Hold on, let me make sure I'm caught up here. It says PlayStation is going the same route as Xbox. This has been the worst gen in the last 20 years. That's wild to me, dude. I mean, I guess it just feels wild to me because it's like, I respectfully disagree, man. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you're absolutely entitled to yours. And I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. All I could tell you is that I respectfully disagree. We're like, dude, I loved the build up to the PS5. I loved the launch of the PS5. I've played more games this generation than probably any other. I played games for probably longer amounts of time than any other. I mean, that's debatable. I would have to really stack it up, but it sure feels like it. And, it's one of these things where, like, I don't think it's been perfect. Certainly not. I don't think it's been perfect. I think it's been far from perfect. Could it be better? Absolutely. Should it be better? Yeah. Did Jim Ryan make some huge mistakes? Sure did. Did Sony CEO make some huge mistakes? Sure did. And there is that level of, like, it's easy, I think, to just kind of point out, like, damn, Sony, you're missing so many of the easy wins. You're missing the easy wins, Sony. Like, you're getting some wins, but you're missing the real easy ones. And it does seem like Sony is willing to trade in those easy wins for the risk of, but can we be successful in live service? And I do think it's stuff like that people feel is so disconnected from the PS4 gen. And the reason why I said earlier that we will never get that PS4 generation again is because the PS4 generation was hyper focused on do not be the PS3 generation. Whatever we did during the PS3 generation in, like, the first half, do the exact opposite. Right? And it's also worth noting that Sony tried really aggressively to break out into the multiplayer space during the PS3 generation, but it didn't work in the way that they wanted. So everything aligned for the PS4, where it's like, you got to have a successful console because it's your last shot. You got to make it a games machine only because you just saw what Microsoft did. Don't do that. You got to focus on single player games because that's what was working for you towards the end of the PS3 generation, not multiplayer games. And there is an argument to be made that when Shuhei Yoshida was the head of PlayStation Studios, they were more willing to experiment with different types of games, smaller games. That maybe didn't make any money, but, that's what Shu liked. So, and also the fact that they didn't do state of plays till, like, the very end, and they only still did the once a year big event. There's so many things that, like, when you look at the once a year big event, like, you can't afford to mess that up. You can afford to mess up a state of play because you're going to have 2 or 3 more throughout the year. Can't afford to mess up one big showcase at E3. Can't do that. So I just think that, we're seeing the fact that times have changed, man, that things have changed. I'm not here to tell you PlayStation's the same as it was during the PS4 or the PS3 or 2. I'm just saying that in the same way that I could look back to the PS1, 2, 3, and 4 and identify what I thought made those generations good or unique or interesting, I identify that with the PS5. And I don't know, maybe it's just the point that I'm at in my life, but it's like, I don't know. I've gotten an incredible amount of enjoyment out of this generation. And I look ahead to, like, the remainder of 2025 to 2026, 27, and even speculating what 27 and 28 will look like. And I'm like, the second half of this generation actually has the potential to be significantly better than even the first half. Again, that's not me saying, so you better love the PlayStation 5 and this gen. No, it's just me being honest in that that's where I fall, man. It reminds me of something that I came across. I ended up deleting all this stuff off of Twitter because I'm like, what the hell am I even doing here? What am I even doing here? But maybe it's, it's anecdotal and it's worth kind of pointing out is, I had posted this thing where this might be a topic for Sunday, I don't know, but I'll just briefly mention it here. Microsoft announced that their games are going to start being priced at $80, right? And The Outer Worlds 2, which is a Microsoft developed and published game, is going to be $80. And the developer of The Outer Worlds 2 recently came out and said, like, I'm paraphrasing what they said, but they're like, yeah, we don't get to choose how much our games are. Like, you're going to have to take that up with Xbox. Like, basically saying, like, don't shoot the developer. Like, it's not up to us. And I think it heavily insinuates that they would not charge $80 if it were up to them. And I saw this post, this was making headlines. And, I felt the need to kind of chime in, which it was regrettable because it's like, you're chiming in on Twitter. What do you hope to achieve? And all I was trying to point out is, like, it was aggressive. I won't lie. What I said was aggressive, so I understand why I got some pushback. But I still think it was kind of correct. Whereas, like, people, people need to realize that Microsoft is no different than any other corporation, just like Sony, just like Nintendo. They all want to extract as much money out of you as they possibly can. None of these companies are trying to actively save you money. They're trying to empty your pockets. They're all just doing it differently, And I said, the difference is it seems like some people are kind of dumb enough to think that Microsoft doesn't want to do that for some reason. Now, granted, again, that was hyper aggressive. There was no need for me to get that aggressive, although I know some people like it, but it's just asking to, I'm just going to offend some people. I don't care about offending people, but if I say something like that and then people want to come at me, it's like, okay, you're kind of asking for it. So I realized, okay, my bad. I'm not trying to fight people and get into it, but something interesting occurred with that interaction that took it beyond that conversation. Because I think what I said is a true statement. It's not just Sony. It's not just Microsoft. It's all of them, dude. They all want to extract as much money from each customer as they possibly can. The end goal, the end game, and the name of the game is not to save people money. It's to find the most efficient, practical way to facilitate more money flowing in. And sometimes that comes in the form of we got to be aggressive and ask for it now. Sometimes that comes in the form of we can afford to wait a little bit. Let's play the long game. It all means to the same end. That's all. That's all I was trying to say. I got a little bit aggressive though. But somebody responded and they were like, how come you're only negative towards Xbox and you only call out Xbox and you don't, to paraphrase what they say, you don't keep the same energy towards Sony. And I definitely I felt a certain way about this because I'm like, that's not even remotely true. So I responded to this person and I was like, dude, I've had major meltdowns for Xbox, obviously. I clearly do not really like Xbox that much, and I've not hidden that, right? I've also had major meltdowns over Sony. In fact, you could argue I may have had some bigger meltdowns over Sony. And a lot of those meltdowns actually probably occurred in the last year and a half, 2 years or so. And, I responded to this person and I told him, I'm like, dude, were you not around for, I couldn't stop talking about Concord? I've lost my mind over Concord more than I've lost my mind over anything Xbox has done in the last 4 years, probably. Were you not there when I was complaining about Sony increasing the prices multiple times in different regions for where it's okay, guys, this is getting a bit much? Were you not there when I was going crazy about the fact that there were 9 games canceled? And I'm like, what the F is going on? Sony, this is some of the worst studio mismanagement I've ever seen. Were you not there when I was freaking out about how much of a mistake it turned out to be with buying Bungie? And the answer was no. Now, granted, this person was honest with me, and they were like, well, I didn't know that. I actually didn't. And I was surprised. See, this is where it's sometimes it's worth maybe engaging a little bit, because this person was like, well, if what you're saying is true, I kind of apologize. I didn't know that. And I was like, well, that's the nature of the beast, I guess, where it's it's unfortunate that so many people seemingly, or at least some people, a noticeable amount of people, they just listen to they just get their information about certain topics, or even people who cover certain topics. They get their information from, certain places where it's all I was trying to convey is that they cannot, whoever they are, whether they be certain outlets, certain influencers, it doesn't matter, they're all over. They cannot do that. They cannot tell you or show you or make people aware that people like myself and you guys and a lot of others, we actually have been very critical towards Sony. Probably more than most other people and most other, creators or communities. They can't highlight that because if they do, it destroys the narrative that they need to exist. That they need to exist. For example, people, and I'll end the diatribe after this, people believed for the longest time that the only way my channel can exist or succeed is by being a Microsoft hate channel. And that's it. That's all that can exist. And if that ever changes or is destroyed or goes away, it's over. And it's like, no, it's never. That's because that's never what it's been about. Will some people leave when they realize that? Yeah. Just like when some people will leave when they realize that I'm not going to, tell you that every single thing Sony does is amazing and you should cheer them on no matter what. Yeah, there are going to be extremists that find their way in and then end up finding their way out. But I thought this was important to highlight because when we're having a discussion about how this generation has played out, we evaluate the PlayStation generation. We talk about, we talk about the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, and how some people really believe this is the worst generation ever. And I just feel like at the end of the day, man, I can truly respect somebody's opinion as long as their opinion is informed. And that's really all it comes down to. That's all it comes down to. But I just thought that was worth telling you guys about because it was, I don't know, it was just interesting for me to see in real time, like right in front of me, that wow, like this person genuinely had a certain image of me and probably my channel and my community, you guys, because they just didn't know. Because who knows what they came across. I'm like, that's just so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate, man. All right. We have, all right, so I'm a little bit behind on the super chats. I apologize. And guys, I want to encourage you. Exactly. At the end of the day, I'm just some dude on the internet with an opinion. That's it. That's all it is. Before I read the rest of these super chats, I want to encourage you guys. We're sitting at 27 members. All right. Consider becoming a channel member or dropping some membership gifts. We're more than halfway there. The goal today is 50 members. If we can hit 50 members, I'm going to do a member stream after this one where I will attempt to get the platinum for Days Gone Remastered. Okay? I would like to do that. That would be a fun thing. So I want to encourage you guys, get more people into that member stream. No pressure, just encouraging. I'm the president of video games. Okay? Severin Evans, you're saying, MBG, I'm a PC gamer now. I don't buy consoles for third party. I get a better experience on my PC than my PC can provide. I think you might say that my PC can provide. I'm not a hater, but not much for me. And that, Severin, here's the thing. That's perfectly fine, bro. Like, I've talked about this numerous times over. There's nothing wrong with wanting more from Sony, wanting more from PlayStation. I want more from PlayStation. I want Sony to do better, dude. Trust me. I'm the first one there to be like, Sony, knock it off. Get it together. You do better. I know you can. But at the same time, I'm also the first person to say, but if what they're doing right now and how it's going isn't for you, and you're having a better time on PC, bro, Sony is okay with that. Like, for example, if you go out there right now, buy a PC and then buy Stellar Blade, Sony's not going to be upset. They're going to be, oh, cool, that's another sale. I mean, if they lose you, if you are leaving PlayStation to do that, they're probably a little bit bummed, but that's your prerogative, man. And Sony, that's on them to worry about how badly they want to get you back, right? And we have Sony PlayStation Triangle Button coming in with another member gift, bringing us up to 28. Love to see it. Thank you so much for the support, man. He's like, we got to get that Days Gone plat. We got to get the plat, bro. So 28, guys, we are 22 away. We're 22 away. I think we can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. Dark Horse, you're saying with Game Pass 30 days later, it's $64 to buy. Dark Horse, what do you mean? I don't know why I'm not understanding what you're trying to convey in your I thought 30 days of Game Pass was $20. Or do you mean like a full price? You're talking about the Outer Worlds 2. Okay. Well, what do you mean 30 days later though? You have to wait 30 days? Yeah, so I know Game Pass discounts games. So it's not. You're telling me it's not like No, I understand that, Chris, but I'm like, why is that like a is that how it is for all the games? It's exactly 1 month later? Or is it vary? I literally know what he means, but Nick, you think Game Pass blew up in Microsoft's face? Well, I'm not going to talk about it much here, but I did see on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, apparently there's something labeled on one of Microsoft's websites that it talks about like a Game Pass price increase or something. And so it's like I don't know, we'll see. Like we'll see if that's actually going to happen. I've been expecting that to happen, but I don't think it blew up in Microsoft's face. I just think it's just like they got what they got, man. Like they got the subscribers they got. They're kind of beholden to them now, but they still got to make money. There are two different sales on Xbox, Game Pass sales and regular. Okay. Well, okay. Before I read Leo's super chat here, are you saying that if you subscribe to Game Pass, so it's 10% off day one? Okay. And that's good. Yeah, that's I would say if you already see value in Game Pass, but you still do buy some of your games, that's even better. And that's good. Yeah. No complaints here about that, man. Bro, that can't be true. You're saying Game Pass games are going to get unskippable in-game ads? That cannot be true. What kind of hellscape is this? What kind of hellscape is that? Maybe if it's like a free tier. If it's like a free tier, I could see that. No way you're paying for Game Pass and then they do that. No chance. I've heard rumors of like a free tier coming in though, which makes me wonder if Sony would do something like that to match it. Most of the games announced at the show are coming to Game Pass. Well, I mean, 18 May, I hear what you're saying, dude, but I did give Microsoft their flowers for the showcase. I mean, I'm on, like, I saw the announcements and I watched most of it and I'm like, well, it was pretty good. It was a solid showcase. It wasn't amazing though, in my opinion. I thought last year's showcase was better. But you know, it's neither here nor there at this point. Leo Jimmy, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, buddy. You're saying MBG money. If I could go back in time and bring the 2007 PS3 with me that was starving for games to today, he would be elated. I have 10 games that I haven't gotten to, partially due to the Division 2 worst gen. People tripping. I mean, honestly, Leo, I kind of, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I hope nobody takes offense to this because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's like I really am starting to think that people are getting older and they're just not as into video games. Like it's either if they're not as into video games anymore, the nostalgia is too strong. We're like, it's kind of like when I was I was rewatching some Metal Gear Online videos yesterday, and it's like the reality is like, dude, at the time, it was amazing. Which generation was worse? I mean, my opinion is all of PlayStation's generations were good, and the only one that was, I think, actually objectively like a train wreck, and even Sony admits this, was the first half. And I don't even know if it was the half, but like the first 2 to 3 years of the PS3. I think that's the only one you could objectively say is like, okay, that was bad. Just like you can look at all of the Xbox generations, and really, I think the only one you could say was objectively like really bad was the beginning of the Xbox One. And not even from a game perspective, which is unfortunate, just the reality of what was going on with that ecosystem. And so I just feel like it's one of these things where this is why I don't want to argue with people where it's like, if you tell me you think the PS5 gen is the worst, you know, you're wrong, bro. You're totally wrong. And let me tell you why you're wrong. It's just like, I just kind of feel bad in a way where it's like, I don't know, man. It's at a point where it's like I said, you can go anywhere now and game, bro. Like you have so many options. There's too many at this point. There's like too many places to go game. You got services. You got all different platforms, all different storefronts, all different hardware. I genuinely feel like if people are in this place, I don't think it's just 3 options, dude. I don't think that's. Come on, I think that's disingenuous. It's not just 3 options. This isn't the olden days, right? You have more options than before. I'm not trying to make it sound like you got like hundreds of options, but you have more than ever before. Where like even access points, where like you can game through the cloud. You can game on your freaking smart TV. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different, there's like cheap PCs out there that can run so many games. Yeah, mobile gaming, even if you want to take it that far. And I'm just trying to say, like, if you can't find something that speaks to you, that truly makes you happy to game, and I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but it's like, I mean, I think at some point you got to take a step back and ask yourself, like, is this really it for you? You know, like are you really into gaming? Like, I mean, honestly. And I think some people are afraid to say they're not anymore. And I get it. I've had moments where I'm like, am I like, I don't know. And it's just, well, a lot of people probably just need to take a break. You know, I think for a lot of people, it's just like, take a break. It's fine. It's normal. You know, everybody gets tired of everything eventually. But I think that some people are just afraid to maybe admit that, like, they're just not, that they get, I think some people are afraid to admit that they get genuinely more enjoyment talking about video games or following video games or following the discussion of video games than they do playing video games. And that's like that's considered like a cardinal sin in the gamer sphere, right? Where it's like, whoa, what are you talking about? It's like somebody saying, I enjoy watching playthroughs of games more than I enjoy playing games. Like, I'd rather watch a playthrough. It's like, well, you're not a gamer. And it's like, well, I would make an argument for that person. I would vouch for that person where it's like, they're still engaged with video games. They're not, they're missing a major layer and they're not experiencing it firsthand, but it's still a part of their life. You know what I mean? Like, so therefore, it'd be like if somebody engaged in a conversation with me and was talking to me about The Last of Us, but they never played it. But they know like everything about it. I would never know that they didn't play it, which is crazy. And if they told me they didn't, I'd be like, oh, well, I mean, obviously the first thing it says, well, you got to play it. But it's just interesting. It's interesting to think that, like, Johnny, you're gatekeeping that. I mean, look, man, I don't want it to be taken so far. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be taken so far where it's like, I'm a gamer that doesn't play games. Like, yeah, that sounds like, what does that even mean? I agree, that sounds silly. I guess I'm just trying to say that a lot of these discussions and a lot of these things are more nuanced. And I think if people were more willing to just be nuanced about it. You know, be a little bit more nuanced, be a little bit more in depth when you're engaged with people and the discussions. And I think people are much more receptive and understanding of that. But again, I'm on the internet saying this, so internet conversations. All right. Leo Jimmy, thank you so much for the super chat. We have Easy Tone with a $5 super chat saying, was traveling with the family this past week and missed all of the Summer Game Fest stuff. Now that the dust has cleared, what stands out from it the most? Well, for me, Easy Tone, I mean, if you're just talking about Summer Game Fest, for me, it's Resident Evil 9. But I keep thinking about that game, The Cube. I keep remembering that trailer and thinking, like, that looked pretty sick. The Lies of P Overture Shadow Drop. I don't know why. I just was not expecting that. Microsoft's going to increase game pricing version. Oh, you think it's being reported on now? It is being reported on? Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I'll look into that. Yeah. I told you I saw something on the Gaming Leaks Rumor subreddit. Now you're saying there's more coming out. Okay. All right. I mean, it's not shocking. It's not shocking. I'm just not arguing with people anymore. You know, it's like if it's not my place to determine what people perceive to be valuable and a good deal. But I did try telling people that, you know, if you're seeing Microsoft increase the price of all of their products, literally all of their products, including their software, I think you might be in for a little bit of disappointment if you truly believe they're not going to also increase the price of their services. Not here to tell you whether it's worth it or not. I'm just here to tell you, yeah, that's probably going to happen. Because they too want money. Shocking. Microsoft is like, wait a minute. We want money too. Hold on. Yeah, Easy Tone. I think Summer Game Fest was pretty good overall. Not the best I've seen, but RE9 was, I mean, that was the biggest announcement by far. It was really good. Really excited for that. But there was some good stuff. I think Jeff Keighley had some solid stuff to show at Summer Game Fest this year. But it wasn't the best. It wasn't like the absolute best show I've ever seen. Trying to real quick before I move on though, I know I'm forgetting a couple things because there was more than like 2 or 3 things I saw at Summer Game Fest that I was interested in. I think Dying Light the Beast showed up, right? Did that show up at Summer Game Fest or the Xbox show? You know, these shows are in such close proximity to one another that I tend to forget what was where. They just blend together. Let me see. We have Planet Schlorpian with a $2 chat saying, hooked on Silent Hill 2 MBG, like watching Eraserhead. FT. Yeah, dude. Enjoy it. Enjoy Silent Hill 2. It's such a great game. And, I mean, once you experience it the first time, you know, it's going to be one of those experiences that you have with a game where you're like, I wish I could erase my memory and then experience it for the first time all over again. So savor it and enjoy it, man. Incredible game. Still can't believe how good of a job Bloober Team did. Apparently, there's supposed to be DLC coming for it as well. Is the Silent Hill 2 performance mode okay on PS5? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, there are a couple of visual issues, like a little bit of shimmering here and there, but I think it looks great. And it runs well. Looks great, runs great. You think it's the best remake to date, Joshua? Yeah. This is why I'm so excited for Silent Hill 1 Remake, because I have the utmost confidence in Bloober Team now. Lux, you're saying Sony talking about possible PS Plus increase. Why? Wait, where? Where did that come from? Lux, you got to tell me, bro. I haven't seen this. I'm seeing people talk about Xbox price increases or Game Pass price increases and now PS Plus price increases. If Sony increases the price of PS Plus, they better do something. They better add something, bro, because, like, ain't no way. Oh, yeah, that Chronos game looks really good, too. Already 6 articles in the past 2 hours talking about it? Well, hold on. I check these websites constantly. Oh, okay. I went to PlayStation Lifestyle, literally the first article, 27 seconds ago. More PS Plus price hikes coming as players choose to pay more. Oh, my God. Oh, come on, dude. It seems Sony isn't done increasing the price of its online gaming subscription service, PlayStation Plus. This is despite the service seemingly doing well, as more players are choosing to pay for higher tiers of membership. According to Sony's recent Games and Network Service segment, the company discussed the growth of PS Plus specifically for the premium tier of the service. The data given showed the subscriber mix of the service change, showing good growth for its more expensive tiers. Specifically for premium subscriptions, fiscal year 2022 saw 17% of users at that tier, followed by an increase to 19% in fiscal year 23, and finally another increase to 22% in fiscal year 24. Overall, 38% of PS Plus subscribers are premium and extra members. That's kind of nuts. My God, I didn't know it was that high. I'm not. Subscribers are increasingly choosing our premium and extra tiers, which now represent approximately 38% of total subscribers, says Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Hideaki Nishino. In a fireside chat video, the company that accompanies this presentation, Nishino discusses bringing more value to PS Plus as well as making adjustments to its prices in select countries. These price increases were partly a result in increasing value we bring to the players through the quality and diversity of content we continue to add, as well as investment in the features to improve the service further, such as player personalization and enhanced content discovery. The PlayStation Plus service offers great value for our players, and we will continue to add more value and adjust our pricing strategy in a dynamic way to maximize profitability. Okay, all right. I mean, I was under I was under the impression that they were like actually announcing a price increase. I mean, yeah, there's like it's a double-edged sword here because on one hand it's like, well, I'm glad they're being honest about it. Like they're not bullshitting their investors or the media where they're like, yeah, we'll continue to adjust prices and they may have to go up. I appreciate the candidness of Sony. It doesn't necessarily make for a good talking point, but on the other side, it's like, well, that sucks. Like, come on, bro. Like, another price increase? Like, I don't know, Sony. Come on, bro. Like, you're really pushing it here. I don't know. It's a little bit surprising to me that so many people are subscribed to PS Plus Extra and Premium, though. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why it is, but I didn't.
Hey guys, it's Boss here again, Meow. I can't wait for the next stream, Meow, so we can hang out and eat snacks together. It's gonna be a good time. Meow.
A wild boss appears. Yo, you say that's cringe? You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to deal with that cringe, whether you like it or not. PlayStation Plus Extra is good games. Joshua Reese with the $2 super chat says, MEG, where was your Xbox Showcase stream, homeboy? I didn't stream it this year. No, I wasn't up to streaming it this year, but doesn't Xbox do another show this year? Right? Like I feel like what do they do? Gamescom? Boss would sound like Kojima. Did you see Asmongold just put out a video reaction about Neil Druckmann being the most hated developer in the world? Oh my God. No, I didn't, but sheesh. Whenever Xbox does another show, I'll react to it. And I promise this time, unless there's like a literal emergency, some kind of like crisis. All right. Unless there's something like that, I'll stream whatever Xbox does next. Yeah, maybe it'll be like a developer direct. No, not yet, Joshua. And Lux, you're saying Sony's like, you want to pay more? Okay, hold my beer. Sony's going to push the limits. Everybody's pushing the limits. They're like, so how much you want to pay? It's like, well, I mean, just leave it as it is. It's fine. It's fine. Let's see here. So something else that's worth going over with Sony's strategy that they revealed is they talked about the Switch 2. Investors were actually asking Sony if they're worried about the Switch 2, and investors were saying that they're worried that Sony may lose market share to the younger audience that Nintendo appeals to, that, as they put it, and this is the way that they put it, that doesn't graduate to PlayStation. And this is where Sony gave a very PR answer, but essentially they're like, we're not worried about the Switch 2. They're like, we still believe the PS5 is the best console that people are going to choose to play in the living room. And what was really funny, hold on, I want to see if I can bring the quote up. Herman Hulst, I swear this guy, man, Herman Hulst, any chance he gets, where is it? What is it gone? Anyway, Herman Hulst, he of course he name drops Horizon. He's like, we got Astrobot, which will appeal to a younger audience. No, boss, you can't come over here, dude. And we got Horizon, which is going to appeal to a female audience. I'm like, damn you, Herman. Damn you. Okay, get down. You can't do that. You're going to break it. Boss, I just gave you treats. You're supposed to be a good boy. Not a bad boy. Damn. He's being bad. But I just thought it was funny that Herman Hulst actually name dropped Horizon. Like, of course you did. It would be Horizon, not anything else. But yeah, basically, like, this was one of the answers that Sony gave where, like, it's not that I expect them to come out and say we're worried about it. And it is, the Switch 2 just launched. But if what they say is to be taken at face value, they're saying we're not worried about the Switch 2 right now. We don't really see it as a threat. And I'm curious to see as the years go by how the Switch 2 does, depending on how the Switch 2 does, how Sony may feel differently, potentially, about it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. And Dark Horse, with a $2 super chat, says Herman is banking on Marathon like Concord. I do wonder. So they didn't talk about Marathon much. The only thing they said about Marathon in this business update is that it's very important to them. But they did talk about live service, and they did talk about how they're being way more hands-on now. And I mean, I'll just read it. It says, speaking candidly as part of a investors roundtable, PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst said he believed some really good work went into the first-person shooter. We're talking, I don't know if he's talking, I think he's talking about Concord or Marathon. But he said, we've introduced a much more rigorous process for validating our creative, commercial, and development assumptions. And we now do that on a much more ongoing basis. And that's the plan that will ensure that we're investing in the right opportunities at the right time, all while managing or maintaining more predictable timelines. The ex-Guerrilla Games managing director pointed to Marathon as a title the company is taking extremely seriously. And he noted that the team is currently reviewing the alpha cycle that the release just concluded, so it can better, quote, understand how audiences are engaging with it. And like, this is fascinating to me because it's like, okay, and what did you learn, Herman? You're going to elaborate? I mean, this is where you could tell, like, they don't want to talk about the bad news, but it's like, what did you learn? Because what I learned based off of not playing it myself, maybe that day will come if they do like a beta, but what I learned is you guys might be in some trouble again. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Sony seems, I'll just say this. Sony has a strange amount of confidence. And maybe it's just for show. Maybe they're just trying to show confidence to the investors so as not to scare them away. And that would make sense. But I do think that they have a strange amount of confidence that they're projecting here when it comes to their live service efforts. I don't know. I guess we'll see, man. I think Marathon is cooked. I don't think there's anything Sony can do to save that game. But I think the question is, like, how willing is Sony to truly prevent a Concord level disaster? Like, are they willing to take that risk again where you put something out there? It's just like, bro, I don't know. I'm worried that they're going to do it again, man. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? And we have Robert Rose with a $5 super chat. He says, been watching you for about close to 3 years. Keep it going, Bubbio. Love it. Bubbio. I don't know if I said that correctly, but thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the support, man. Guys, once again, if you haven't, take a moment. Please hit that like button. We're sitting at 123 likes. It really helps the streams. I want to see if we can push to hit 150 likes. Let's make a big push to do that and consider dropping some membership gifts. Become a member. All right, we're sitting at 28. I really want to see if we can get to that 50 before the stream wraps up today. Joshua, that's funny, bro. So they acknowledged the Switch too. Sony also acknowledged what's going on with Xbox. I have a write-up here from Push Square. It says Sony has said that competition from rival console manufacturers drives it to innovate, although it's not overly worried about Xbox's potential exit from the business. PlayStation boss Hideaki Nishino was asked rather bluntly during an investors meeting whether he believes it'll be good or bad for Sony if Microsoft decides to quit making hardware. We think that competition in the business is healthy and that pushes us to innovate, he explained. There are multiple participants who together drive the overall game industry, and while there are new engagement models being explored, we ultimately think this is a good thing. Nishino, as you would expect, implied that Sony is more focused on its own decisions rather than the trajectory of others. As I mentioned earlier, we are confident and committed on our current strategy, and there isn't an urgent need for us to pivot, but we will continue to monitor play patterns. So, would really love to hear more from Sony about how do you really feel, Sony? How do you really feel? And we have Lux with a $10 super chat, or a 10-pound chat, I should say. I always just say dollars. So if you guys are ever super chatting in pounds or euros, don't mind me for just saying dollars. You're saying PlayStation should focus more on their strengths, third-party partnerships. That's where they make the bulk of their money. Nintendo outsells them with hardware and first-party IPs, but Sony makes a killing off of third-party sales. You're not wrong, Lux. I mean, it is true that this is Sony's seemingly their greatest strength. I think, see, the question that I would like to ask, like, I wish I'm not a major investor of Sony, so I could never ask them questions. You know, only like big investors have an opportunity like once or just a few times a year to actually ask Sony questions. I would love to ask them, like, are you afraid, like, not afraid, but like, Do you believe console sales are going to decline going into the end of the PS5 generation and even beyond that into the PlayStation 6 generation? Like, do you think you might have any struggle there because consoles are becoming like, do you believe consoles are becoming less relevant or a harder sell? And why? Like, what is your reasoning for thinking that? Because I feel like Sony just kind of, they're playing this, they have this angle to their strategy where it's almost like they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And a lot of people believe that's what's going to happen. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, the PS5 is still doing very well. Now, maybe if there is a price increase, yeah. If that does happen, I think that's going to cause, that could be kind of disastrous for Sony, to be honest. And so, you talk about their third party partnerships. That's where they make the bulk of their money. I mean, that's absolutely true, but they need to keep selling hardware, Lux. And I think that this is where it's just Sony. I think Sony wants to expand more aggressively and become more multi-platform more aggressively. I do think they want to do that. But they really are afraid, and they should be, like, for good reason. They're afraid that, like, but what if the action that we want to take to grow hurts our console sales, right? So I think Sony's just waiting. I think right now Sony is viewing console sales the same way that a lot of us are, which is place your bets. It's either going to be perfectly fine and people kind of over-exaggerated the death of the console, or, you have Microsoft basically exiting the console space, for all intents and purposes. Nintendo's going to do fine with the Switch too, but if the PS6, I don't want to say fails, but if the PS6 struggles, that's going to be like a major signal that, oh, okay, well, here it is. Now we're sliding down the slide, and I don't know what Sony thinks about that. Like, Sony is projecting confidence, obviously, and they have good reason to. Like I said, they're still selling, but it just feels like there's this kind of unknown occurrence that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And at least that's what it kind of feels like. That's kind of in the air, I guess you could say. And I think Sony doesn't really want to talk about it too much. And they're just going to take the position of, let's just wait and see. Because they do say, like, we don't have to pivot right now. It's tough. It's tough. I just think that Sony, getting back to your super chat, Lux, the whole idea is Sony is not going to be able to do what they do best, even if it is mostly third party, if they struggle to sell hardware. I mean, one of the biggest things we talk about with Xbox is a lot of the decisions that they're making are seemingly going to hurt their own storefront, like the Xbox storefront. And, you look at it, and I can only assume that they're aware of that. They just don't care. For Sony, that's their biggest concern, dude. Like, their storefront is tethered to their hardware, to their console. And if the day comes where, you're having less people engaged in your storefront, less people active on your store because less people are buying your hardware, at that point, Sony's going to have to think about how they're going to, how they're going to expand their storefront. That's a whole nother conversation. So I just think right now Sony is, I don't say terrified, but terrified is probably a strong word. They're not terrified, but they are. It would be easier. Let's just put it that way. It would be easier and simpler for Sony if they didn't have to start making dramatic moves like, we are now going to put our storefront in other places, because there is a risk there, right? The whole idea is you get a PS5 console, you get a PlayStation console, you start buying your games on the PlayStation Store. There's no other storefront on this console. you're free to go anywhere you want. You're free to go to any other storefront, any other hardware. But if Sony can lock you in like that, not forcefully, but obviously it's not forcefully, but just, it's just kind of the domino effect. That's what they want to do. And it does seem like the rate things are going, it seems like it's becoming more and more difficult for them to do that as effectively. And they're in this position where they're still doing it, but they're making decisions that signal that they're not going to always do it, or they're loosening their grip. And so when people see that, they're like, okay, just let go. Just let go. It's understandable. You think PlayStation Store can't compete with Steam without consoles? I don't think PlayStation Store would survive. Here's what I think. I think without consoles, the only way the PlayStation Store could survive is they would have to match Steam. And believe me when I tell you, I'm not against that, because everything I've heard about Steam, it's incredible, and there are major improvements that Sony still needs to make on the PlayStation Store. But Sony doesn't want to do that because, well, they don't want to do it. Like, I mean, if you were in their position, why would you? If you don't have to, why would you? And somebody might say, because it's the right thing to do. And I'm like, we're talking business. We're not talking morals and ethics. We're talking business. And in business, morals and ethics, they come second or third, right? But that's an interesting prospect. As if Sony was forced to move the PlayStation Store around, they would also in turn be forced to, okay, well, now you have to, you have to make some significant changes. Like, for example, if Sony ever put the PlayStation Store on PC, which I don't think they're going to do that, at least not anytime soon, but if they ever did that, it's like, you're going to have to make some major changes. Big time. Sony refunding Mind's Eye shouldn't have been news. Steam and Xbox does it with every game within a certain period of time. I agree with that. Yeah, that's like, I think that's something that Sony, listen, I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to physical games or whatever, but if Sony is going to start pushing digital more aggressively, they need to do a better job with their store refund policy. It's garbage. Like, even if you pre-order a game digitally, they make it a whole, I mean, I'm not saying it's like the most annoying thing in the world, but you have to contact their customer service or whatever to cancel it. It's like, what? This is why it's like, why would I ever pre-order a digital game? Because if I change my mind, like, I have to now go out of my way. I mean, like, for example, if you pre-order a game on Amazon physically, if you decide, actually, never mind, you just go on the website, you just open the app, click your orders, click cancel. That's it. That's all you do. So Sony they have some work to do, man. They have some work to do. You're pre-ordering DS2 Digital Deluxe legit today when I get home. Well, I mean, look, for me, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to cancel that. Like I understand there are just some games you're not going to cancel. If you know for a fact I'm buying this game no matter what, that's fine. But I guess maybe the real message here is only pre-order digitally if you are 100% sure on the PlayStation Store, dude. Steam refunds are unrivaled. Sony would cry. Sony would cry if they had to match that, bro. Oh my God, they would. And you know what? That's where Sony's ethics should be called into question, truthfully. Where it's like, dude, I understand that there are going to be people who take advantage of that and exploit it. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if Steam detects that you're like exploiting it, they will stop you. They're not just going to let you rent games for 2 hours. They're not going to do that. But it's like, if you do it, if it seems like you're doing it like, it's not like an every week thing. It's just on occasion where it's like, yeah, I genuinely am not enjoying this game. I would like a refund. They'll do it. And that's good. That's good. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe you can do it that way. I don't have much experience on Steam. I don't know if you could just legit just keep buying game after game and requesting a refund. I'm pretty sure they would stop you from doing that, but because that's just messed up. You know, that's the ethic problem going the other way, where it's like, why do you have to exploit the system now? Like, this is why we can't have good things. It's always a push and a pull. You have to give a reason why you refund it on Steam, and they do a review before they accept it. Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say is if you could just, it's literally just a click of a button. That's crazy. Easy Tone with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, as someone who never played Metal Gear Online, can you explain why you and others were so disappointed by the news of no MGS Online mode? I'll keep it short and simple, Easy Tone. It's a good question. Simply put, Metal Gear Online, it was ahead of its time in some ways, where it was a fully fleshed out like Metal Gear experience, where it didn't skip on anything. It wasn't hyper focused like the Fox Hunt mode is, and maybe that's what helped kind of kill it a little bit, because, you know, when people think of Metal Gear, they don't really think of like TDM, right? But there were just many unique aspects of Metal Gear Online. The ranking system was unique. The mechanics were in depth, and the mechanics were almost like kind of nonsensical at time, in the sense of like the fact you can even do this, but there were so many different mechanics and ways you could engage with competing against other players and fighting against other players. And they had unique game modes. They had clan systems. It was just a really fleshed out experience. And it was just a fleshed out experience that unfortunately never was able to achieve its true potential, because Konami could never really they could not reach a level of competence that was needed to sustain a multiplayer game. There were always server issues. They never integrated into PlayStation Network, and ultimately it culminated in the first two iterations of Metal Gear Online getting shut down way too soon. And the third iteration of Metal Gear Online, which shipped with Metal Gear Solid 5 to Phantom Pain, ended up just being kind of disappointing, because unfortunately they kind of decided that they wanted to take a lot of cues from games like Call of Duty and many other successful multiplayer games that watered the experience down. So hopefully that explains why so many people just want to see, I would say, elements of Metal Gear Online 1 and 2 packaged in something new today in the form of Metal Gear Online 4. But, you know, Konami just has no interest in doing that. Titus, a member for 18 months, says, hey, MBG, I don't want to tease you, but did you get over the fact that Konami didn't reveal a new version of MGS Online and Fox Hunt instead? Is it too soon for jokes? No, I'm over it. I was definitely upset, but I was really thinking about that Fox Hunt game mode, and I'm like, listen, in the Metal Gear Online modes, my favorite mode was sneaking. And when I took a step back and I thought about it, I'm like, that's kind of what this mode is. It's a little bit different. And there's probably more we don't know about yet, but that's basically what it is. And I'm like, you know, if it was like, listen, man, you're not going to get Metal Gear Online, but you can have one mode from that experience, what would it be? It would be sneaking. And this is like a mixture of sneaking and team sneaking put into one, and I'll take it, is what I'm trying to say. And I am excited. I think I was a little bit, I was I don't say overly negative, but I was disappointed. But once I got over it, and I'm like, you know what? Listen, man, for the past 2 years I've known about this game, this wasn't even a thing. Multiplayer online for Metal Gear Solid wasn't even a thing. Now it is. You know what? I'll take it, bro. And who knows? It could be great. I'm going to have fun playing it. Might be the next Spies versus Mercs. It has potential, dude. It has potential. So thank you for using your milestone chat, Titus. And I'm about to read Josh's super chat again, guys. I'm sorry I sound like a broken record. I don't mean to sound like I'm not trying to beg or anything. It's really not that. Like, I'm satisfied with 28 members. It's just that I do have a goal. I want to play Days Gone, bro. Don't make me lower the goal. If you want to drop memberships, please do so soon, because I don't know how much longer this stream's going to be going on for. Let them cook, and hopefully they have people who love MGO2 on the project. I'm going to let them cook, man. The one thing I want to know is if it's going to launch day one with Metal Gear Delta, because they didn't really make it, like, they didn't make that clear. So I don't know if we're going to have to wait a little bit. And Josh Z with a super chat says, I got to Act 3 of Expedition 33 and my brain is broken for the first time in decades of playing video games. I know the feeling, bro. I know the feeling, Josh. Yeah, it's wild. No spoilers, but it's wild, bro. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. It was such a great game. Still my game of the year. Still my game of the year. Still thinking about it. Michael, you're saying I just watched your recent video. Well done explaining the current market landscape. Well, thank you, Michael. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it if you did. And it's always tough when I go to make these videos when there's so much to cover. And I was recording early in the morning. I think my voice sounded pretty bad. But yeah, man, Sony, they're kind of sticking with their guns right now. They're sticking with their strategy. And I think they're smart for doing so, because I just don't think, like I said, they have to rock the boat right now. And Titus comes in, bro. He comes in with the 5 membership gifts. He did it. He's like, we got to get to the goal. I'm here for you, MBG. Thank you so much. W's in the chat for Titus. That brings us up to 33 members. Guys, are we going to hit 50 today? If we hit 50 today, I'm going to do a members-only stream where I'm going to attempt the Platinum Days Gone Remastered. Okay? We'll do it right after this stream. So we're at 33. I think we can do it. Titus is the beacon of hope, bro. What do we need, 17 now? I believe in you guys. I believe. Wes is dodging these memberships like it's the Matrix. Yo, Bunk King says, hold on, let me get my laptop. Yo, he's coming in, bro. Dude, you know what's crazy? There are too many people that I come across where it's like, YouTube's got to figure something out. There are too many people I come across that, like, you know, I'm assuming they're not BSing me, and I don't think they are. I mean, why would they? Where they're like, bro, I would, but I literally can't. Like I don't have my laptop or my desktop with me in iOS. It's just like, bro, it's just, it makes me wonder, like, if YouTube's ever going to do something about that, because it happens, like, way more than you would think. I'm like, that's crazy. And Sony PlayStation triangle button comes out of nowhere, bro, and drops 10 membership gifts on you guys. Sony PlayStation triangle button does it. He's like, we are getting there. And then Schmidt GT, who I think is sick today, by the way, but still, even as he's sick, he's like, I'm going to renew my membership, man. Schmidt, thank you so much for renewing the membership, buddy. And triangle button, bro, thank you for the 10 memberships. I just spit everywhere. Jeez. See how I'm getting so excited. I'm foaming at the mouth. But that brings us up to 44 members. Guys, we are just 6 away. Now it's going to have to happen. There's no way we don't hit this goal today. We're too close. MBG, check your settings after the stream because some YouTubers... Perfect Image, I'm telling you, man. I've checked in. I've looked into all the settings I possibly could. I don't think it's anything on my end when it comes to people on iOS not being able to gift. Pretty certain, anyway. I mean, I'll double check. And Bunk King was serious. I feel like I have to say your name slowly. I don't know why. Like, it feels like if I say it too fast, I'm going to be saying something I shouldn't say. But Bunk King comes in, bro. and he drops 5 more memberships on you guys, and he drops the last one. He brought us to 49. He dropped the single, and he does it. Joshua Reese comes in with the single gift. Sorry, Josh. I know you tried. And Titus. I knew that was going to happen. I knew after he dropped the 5, it was at 49. Josh and Titus both dropping single membership gifts, but still help. Thank you guys so much. He's like, I tried, man. No, I still appreciate it. Hey, man, you guys want to go for a 75 goal? I'm all for it. But thank you so much. I knew we were going to get that member train going. I knew we were going to be able to hit that goal. And so we did it.
Holy shit.
When this stream is wrapped up today, let me see, where are we at? So we're almost at the 2.5 hour mark. We'll probably go to like the 3 hour mark. When we wrap this stream up, we're going to open up a second one. It'll probably take like a 5-10 minute intermission. And we're going to play some Days Gone Remastered, guys. I only need a couple more trophies. Listen, I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to get the platinum. I'm this close. I have to take out a bunch of hordes. So I'm going to have to look it over again. I don't know if it's like 10 hordes. I don't know if it's like 20. But I want to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. All right. I've been playing so much Days Gone this past month, dude. So it felt like the stars aligned. I'm like, I'm going to be streaming today. Why not do a gameplay stream? So thank you guys so much, really. You guys know I can only continue to do these streams, to host this podcast, to create videos and run this channel because you guys make it possible. We don't do sponsorships, which is good. You know, not that I have a problem with them necessarily. It's just I think it's better if I don't have to do them. And you guys who power the channel, who donate to the channel, you make it possible to just, to make it run this way. So thank you so much for all you do for me, for the family, for the community here. Very, very thankful for that. And let me update the goal, show you where we're at. Crushed it. 52 on the day. And, if you dropped any super chats as well, I appreciate that. And we do have a couple of direct donations from Walroar here. The first one, he says, curious, just had lunch with my coworkers, and we were talking about how each of us makes grilled cheese sandwiches. I use mayo and toast the outer bread. How do you make your grilled cheese sandwiches, and what cheeses do you use? I use mid-cheddar with 2 slices of Swiss. Walroar is about to have his mind blown. You ready? I'm about to rock your world. I don't eat grilled cheese. I know I'm rocking his world right now because that wasn't even a thought that occurred to him when he typed up those chats. He's like, that's not even a possibility. If that was a possibility, I wouldn't ask this question. Oh, Bunk King, you want I'm sorry, you want a Metal Gear soundbite? I got you covered, bro.
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Thank you, Bunk King. I'm sorry, I forgot to play a soundbite for you, man. Good stuff. But yeah, Walroar, I feel bad because I can't even answer this because I don't eat grilled cheese. Joshua, you want to go for? I'll tell you, man, out of all the sound bites, that one never gets old. I need to find alterations of that soundbite. Wes, Gaming Survivor's messing with you, bro. I can't block people from receiving memberships. Yo, you're getting in Wes's head right now, man. No, Wes, that's not a thing, bro. The only reason people aren't able to get membership gifts is if you have a branded channel. Oh my God, now Michael's going to do it, bro. I got to tell him because then he's going to start spreading that shit to other people and everybody's going to start thinking I get to pick and choose who gets met. Now listen. I know on Twitch, people can choose I don't know if they can choose, like, if they gift like 10, I don't know if they can choose all 10 people, but I know at the very least you can do like one sub and choose who it goes to. YouTube doesn't do something like that, and they might at some point. So I have no idea. YouTube hasn't announced anything. What's a branded channel? I don't even know, bro. All I know is that that's the only type of channel that cannot get a membership. If you don't know what a branded channel is, chances are you don't have one. You think YouTube changed the priority of who receives a membership? I mean, I've seen some weird things happen with membership gifts in terms of, like, you know, how they're doled out, where it seems like YouTube has made some tweaks behind the scenes. Hold on one sec, guys. No, I'm not lactose intolerant, Walroar. I don't know, man. I have a weird thing with cheese. I eat cheese. Like, I'm the type of person that'll tell you, oh, I don't like cheese, but then I eat like 10 different things that have cheese. I'm like, well, you definitely like cheese. I guess there's no product except for Cheez-Its that exists. There's no food, I should say, that exists except for Cheez-Its that I eat because it's cheese or it has cheese. Like, cheese is always just extra. Like, for pizza, like, I'll take a red pie over just a cheese only pizza, or like cheesy bread. I'm not a huge fan of cheesy bread. If I'm gonna have cheesy bread, I need to dip it in marinara sauce. I know, I am insane. I mean, I should have known. I was always like this as a kid, and I'm like, people were like, what's wrong with you, bro? And I'm like, I almost got a complex over it. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I only like cheese sometimes on some things. What about cheese on toast? Absolutely not. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that for me is like, no way. Actually, I don't eat cheese on my burgers. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm really weird with cheese. I like cheese on pizza. I don't want it on a burger, though. And I like, from what I gather, that does make me apparently a crazy person. Cheese on pasta is a huge no. 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 Unsubscribe. Get out. Get the hell out right now. Michael, there ain't no way, bro. Jesus Christ. Unsubscribed and blocked. You psychopath. Cheese fries? No. You know what the like most disgusting cheese is to me? Like, it makes me, I mean, well, like, there's like Cheese Whiz. Oh my God, that's so disgusting. The like melted nacho cheese. Oh God. Oh my God. Like, that is just so horrific to me. Like, I don't know why. It just is. Yeah, nacho cheese. I love tortilla chips. You know, I send this man to prison right away. I love tortilla chips, bro, but keep that the hell away. Boo this man. What? I'm not allowed to have my preferences? Like I said, but I'm weird though. I'm like such a weirdo because it's like, I'll eat Cheez-Its. I like Cheez-Its. You know, I'll eat cheese on pizza. I like cheese Doritos. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there aren't that many foods that I eat that have cheese. I think pizza might be like the only one that's like one of the only ones. that's literal cardboard. Maybe that's why I like it. I don't like Sony now because MBG does not like cheese. Not a fan of lasagna. No. Dude, let me tell you something. Growing up in an Italian family where lasagna is like a staple, you know what? We're cutting the conversation. Now I'm having flashbacks and you're taking me back to my childhood. Let me tell you what it was like living in growing up with an Italian family that loves lasagna. Everybody makes lasagna. And I'm just like, I'm good, man. I am good. Luna, whatever you're doing over there, apparently Luna's upset too. Broccoli Rob is in such disbelief. He's just straight up he's just typed one word in the chat. How? How? I'm not full Italian. I think I'm like 50% Italian. I'm like a bunch of different things. I'm a little Italian, German. I think there's a little bit of French in me. I don't know, man. What I do know is I don't know what percentage, but I'm very Italian, I guess. You had no idea, Henry? Damn, Broccoli Rob. Guys, there's no way this is a surprise that you guys are finding out I'm like Italian. I'm 100% PlayStation, bro. You do go on very Italian rants. Gaming Survivor, I don't know if I should. Is that a compliment or? I looked Italian. There's this one picture of me. It's from years ago. I wish I could find it. I'll have to ask my wife if she can help me find it. But there's this one picture of me. It was at like a birthday party or something. And I was I think it was in my early 20s. I was wearing like this Batman shirt, but I had hair. And I had a mustache. And I don't think I've ever looked more. There's just something about it. I look super mega Italian, bro. Like I am Italian, but I mean, like I actually looked. I looked like that Italian, you know. I was that Italian. Mario bound gamer. I'm gonna show up in the new Mafia. Yes, a 20-year-old wearing a Batman shirt. 0 point. Is that weird to you? Are you insecure? It's a me, MBG. Us in the UK, we like fish and chips. I like fish and chips. The new Mafia better have an Italian dub. I mean, you would assume it would. 0 point. That's a weird thing to say. There's no way you think like a 21-year-old wearing a Batman shirt is weird and childish. Who hurt you? 0 point. Who hurt you? It's going to be okay. Who's your favorite superhero? 0 point. What is your age and who's your favorite superhero? No, this is a therapy session now with 0 point. I do not know how to speak Italian. My grandmother would sometimes curse at me in Italian. I don't remember. I can't remember how to say what she said though, but I always thought it was the funniest shit ever. I'm like, this is awesome. You're 35 and have no favorite superhero. I find that childish and stupid. All right, well, 0 point. What about the Punisher? I mean, come on. If we're going to go down the route of it's got to be badass and gritty or serious, Punisher. Mid-30s Batman, I wear all black, and childhood trauma confirmed. Fitting you're playing Days Gone soon. I'm going to the cinema tonight to rewatch 28 Days Later, and tomorrow night, 28 Weeks Later. Oh, that's awesome, Dwayne. Yeah, let me know how you enjoy it. It's been a long time since I've seen those movies, and I've been thinking about rewatching them. Because, dude, yeah, oh my God, 28 Years Later, isn't that coming out in like a couple days or like a week or something? It's coming up really quick. Shit. This is what happens when there's no more Toys R Us. The Toys R Us kids are dying and everyone is growing into grumpy old men. I remember when I was a kid, like 6 years old or something, going to Toys R Us. I was like 5 or 6. Okay. Hey, whoa. Luna wants some catnip. I'm going to give her a little bit of catnip. Come on. Just a little bit. Oh my God. I remember when I went to Toys R Us one time when I was, I don't know. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And, I remember it was just like, I want Toys R Us to be around forever. I said something like that. And I remember when I first heard that, like, Toys R Us was going out of business. I mean, obviously, I'm a grown-ass adult at that point, but I remember being like, damn. Man, it's a good thing I ain't a kid no more, because that kid would be devastated beyond belief. Well, I mean, it's all good, Tarnished. Like, don't even worry about it. You know, it's all they have. That's what I've learned about these people is it's literally all they have. And I realize, like, I just kind of feel sorry for them because I think about like how I don't know, I just think about life in general. And I think about how we have a limited amount of time to do things, you know, like we don't get time back. And I just think, like, everybody's free to spend their time how they wish, obviously. But when I look at that stuff, man, I'm like, okay. Like, if that's how you want to do it, if that's how you want to spend your time, you're free to do it that way. But I just feel like I just kind of pity people, man. Like I don't know. My perspective changes sometimes. Sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I get annoyed. But I always come back to the same places. Like I just see people in pain, dude. And I don't know if that's like just the more empathetic or sympathetic side of me that comes out. But it's just like you could just tell that people, their lives did not go the way that they had hoped. Or that they wanted, you know? And I was just like, I don't know, sometimes I get really deep with it where like I see people and I'm like, it's just like, what happened to you, man? Like, what brought you to this point? I'm sure something did, and I'm sure it wasn't anything good. And it's just like, I wish you the best. I really do. Like, the cycle of just people, and it's a thing that I think is very prevalent in 2025. Like I look around and man, you could tell like people are really struggling. You know, people are angry, people are upset, people are getting tired, people are getting exhausted, people are getting all bad things. And yeah, man, I can't help but just feel bad because I can't do much about it. I can only control what I do. And I have to worry about my life. Got to worry about my little corner of the planet, right? Where I am and what I'm doing. And all I can really focus on is how I choose to conduct myself. And so I guess it's all about trying to, trying to just do the best we can. So The Dark Souls of real life. That's what it is. But yeah, man. What was I talking about prior to that though? You know what? Let's move on. I don't want to talk about cheese no more, bro. Am I gonna get clipped for cheese now? I'm gonna get clipped for my opinions on cheese. Oh man. That's what I'm gonna have to do next. I'm gonna have to start making rant videos about cheese. Whoa, hey, what are you doing? You good? Oh God, Luna had the catnip. She's acting all weird now. All right, let's see where we are time-wise. Okay, so we got like about 15 more minutes. We could probably throw in one more topic here before we wrap it up on this Friday stream. And I want to encourage anybody for the last 15 minutes. Again, once we wrap up here, we're going to move over to a Days Gone member stream. If you want to drop any more support, whether that be super chats, direct donations, you want to become a member, membership gifts, feel free to do that before we close it out. My wrong opinions on cheese. I should make membership goals, and then when we hit them, I have to eat cheese. Oh my God, bro. I mean, that would work. That would work, but I don't know if I want to roll that way though, man. I don't know if I want to roll that way because it's just like, is it going to be worth it, dude? I want this to be a relatively enjoyable experience. Luna, should I eat the cheese? You good? I feel like she's having a bad trip. We have the one no reeler saying, "Can you explain how the Xbox handheld can play PlayStation games, please?" The Xbox handheld, the Xbox ROG Ally X, is that what it's called? It will be able to play any PlayStation title that is available on Steam. So you would assume, like, if you had this handheld right now, you would boot it up, you would open Steam, and then you would buy Spider-Man or The Last of Us or God of War, and then you would play it on that handheld via Steam, just like you can the Steam Deck right now. And then, you know, like the regular ROG Ally or whatever. So that's the way in which you will be able to play PlayStation games on the upcoming Xbox branded handheld. All right, let's see here. We got so some topics we'll probably go more in depth with on Sunday. Is one of the things that came out is apparently, according to Tom Warren, he has heard that Microsoft pretty much canceled their own handheld and that they're focusing on OEMs to manufacture their hardware, which is interesting. You guys were saying something about a Game Pass price increase being reported on. Xbox Game Pass might be getting a price increase. This is written by Jez Corden on Windows Central. Microsoft recently raised the price of Xbox game consoles. Then it raised the price of games to $80. Next on the list might be Xbox Game Pass. Over the past year, Microsoft and other companies have been gradually increasing the price of their products and services, blaming things like Trump's tariff war, sticky inflation, and consumer confidence. Whatever the reason, shareholders don't seem to be too bothered, with megacorps like JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Vanguard set to earn millions via Microsoft's dividend payouts this quarter. But hey, hedge funds could always use some more, right? So Red PHX, who builds the rather amazing Better xCloud, Xbox Cloud Gaming Enhancement Project, noticed that Xbox Cloud Gaming recently added a new notification type dubbed subscription price increase over the past few days. The strings pertain to pop-ups that Xbox Cloud Gaming serves to players who enable notifications on the Xbox.com web app. Most of them are innocuous enough, like reporting on rewards earned, achievements unlocked, friends coming online, and so on. But the latest one specific to subscription price increases is new. It's not a stretch to think that a Xbox Game Pass price increase is imminent, given the fact Microsoft decided now would be a good time to necessitate such a notification type. So, all right, well, it's not official yet, but yeah, it would not be surprising in the least, man. I'm expecting it to happen. So let's place our bets now. What do we think the conversation is going to look like if I should say, because it's not confirmed, but if Game Pass goes up in price? Well, let me ask you first: if Microsoft increases the price of Game Pass, how much do you think it'll be now a month? Because it's what on Xbox it's $20. How much is it on PC? I know it's cheaper on PC. When MBG? Well, I mean, it's just it's not confirmed. It seems like if the price increase is going to happen, it's going to be soon. Luna. She's being so weird, dude. Oh my God. Hold on. Where am I at here? Is it? It's 15. Michael, you're saying hi, Luna. I love you. Oh, she's sitting on the desk now. Luna, come over here so Michael can see you. You're clearly his favorite. She's looking at me panicked, like, whoa, whoa. You managed to get 2 years of Ultimate for $60 each, but they are not coming into stock, I fear again. Do I think the Xbox devices will affect PlayStation/PC Steam sales? No, not really. Not in a consequential matter. No. Like, even when the next gen Xbox is revealed, I do not believe Sony's going to block their games. What the hell is she doing, dude? She's behind the light. You can't, I don't know if you can see it. She's behind the light, dude. She's being so weird. Luna, don't break anything, please. She's freaking me out. You're not buying any more games till the PlayStation first party titles drop? Wes, your Black Cat is your favorite of your three. I mean, for me, she's the craziest. For sure. She's like definitely the craziest. I don't know if it's still her age. You know, she's not even 2 years old yet, but she's definitely the craziest. Luna, do you want more treats? I don't think she wants more. She's being so weird. What do you want? Boss, oh, lay it. Okay, now they're all coming. You guys had enough, bro. I'm not trying to make you all fatties. I got to worry about your health too, you know. Boss and Lay are just sitting under me, looking at me like, so treats? Super stoked for Death Stranding 2, man. This is why I'm trying to get the platinum for Days Gone. I want to wrap it up because I need to get the platinum, but then they have like a bunch of extra trophies for like permadeath, new game plus. There's a bunch, and I want to try to wrap it up 100% before Death Stranding launches. Perfect Image. Did I miss your chat, buddy? Oh, perfect. Dude, Perfect Image. I'm so sorry, man. I don't know why that always happens. I feel like it's always you, too. I apologize, man. You dropped a $2 direct donation, and you're saying people expect, or they have high expectations. Perfect. And personally, I hate the Xbox controller. That's why I've never been an Xbox fan. And they want to be nitpicking. Yeah, I mean, I think you dropped that when we were having our conversation about like just the expectations that people have for this generation in general, but PlayStation as well. I have to disagree with the Xbox controller thing. I actually love the Xbox controller. I always have. Not the original one, but from the 360 onward, I've always loved the Xbox controller. But I could also see why somebody wouldn't like it. But I tend to agree, Perfect Image. I do think that some people, their expectations are simply too high. And again, I think part of the reason why some people's expectations inflate so high, I mean, to like an unreasonable place, is because I think that they mix the nostalgia, like the rose tinted, they're wearing the rose tinted glasses looking back, and they mix that in with, with how they expect things to be now. And I'm telling you, man, I just think there's so many unhappy people, and they can't, and this is why, like, I don't believe in toxic positivity. I think toxic positivity has, some serious downsides, which is why you got to be careful with it. And I think it's important to differentiate toxic positivity from genuine positivity, or an effort to try to see the good in things, and that's why I appreciate, like, when I was watching the Konami event yesterday, and they they did announce Metal Gear Online, and it was that Fox Hunt game mode. I appreciate, like, people were saying, hey man, like, don't, it might be pretty good. Like, it's something, dude. And, we were going in thinking we weren't getting anything. And it may not be exactly what you had hoped for and exactly what you wanted, but it could be something really fun. And, they were expressing their excitement to play it. And it kind of was infectious to me, because I was like, yeah, I don't think I can be mad. I'm going to play it, and I'm excited to play it. And, I was talking to my friend who's going to be playing it as well, and we were both expressing our disappointment, but even he was like, this could be pretty fun, man. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I think there's something to be said for that attitude. I don't think that's toxic positivity. I think it's also fine if somebody says, yo, this is not MGO. Konami, what the heck? I thought it was going to be MGO4. I'm really disappointed. I'm not going to be playing it. I think that's fine too. I don't think that's overly negative. I think that's just somebody expressing how they feel in their opinion. But it's like, when I saw people yesterday, again, surprise, surprise, on Twitter, they're like, I'm canceling my pre-order. It's like, bro, what? People basically making it sound like their excitement for the game is diminished. And I'm like, you didn't even know that this was a thing that they were working on for it. Like, up till this point, when you were expressing excitement, you thought it was just the single player, and that's all you were getting. So it's kind of weird to see that, it's weird to see that in real time, just people kind of like, I don't know, the emotions being, so malleable. Oh my God, I think Luna wants more catnip. Expedition 33 made you realize that? Luna, I'm trying to get your catnip. Don't swipe at me. Oh, God. Okay, you know what? On second thought, I'm staying the hell away. She's got those wide eyes, pupils completely dilated. Like, I'm not going near you, man. I'm good. I don't need to get messed up. Dude, her claws are sharp. She's making me nervous, though. What are you doing? Come on. Come on. She's getting older and she's becoming a little bit more of a troublemaker. Expedition 69, no way. Oh, guys, we hit the 3-hour mark. All right. So I'm going to do my out. She just dropped all the treats. No. Oh my God, bro. All right, guys, I got to pick these treats up before these cats. I can't believe it. Stop. You can't eat them. There's too many. All right, I'm sorry about that, guys. Like, you couldn't have waited to do that for just maybe like 2 minutes or something. Dude, she just. I'm going to have to put these treats away. She's too smart. She knows exactly how to open them and not, like, she knows just the right angle to knock them down at so they'll, like, the top will pop open and they'll explode everywhere. Yeah, it's these, these containers that they put the Temptations in, they're, like, convenient, but, man, they're flimsy as all hell. I swear, they do it on purpose. I think they do it on purpose because they know if we know that cats like to knock things over. If we make the lids flimsy and easy to pop open, we know that cats will do that. They will knock it over. The treats will go everywhere. They will eat a third of those treats. And then before you know it, you're going to have to buy a whole nother container much sooner than anticipated. Yo, I'm on to you, Temptations, or whatever company makes this brand. I'm on to you. I know what you're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. All right, guys. That's going to wrap up this stream today. We are going to, after I close this stream, give it like maybe 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to put out a second stream. It's going to be a members only stream. So if you're not a member, this is your last chance. Consider becoming one. Okay. Last chance for member gifts as I'm doing my outro. We're going to move over there and I'm going to attempt to platinum Days Gone Remastered. All right. It should be a good time. I've been working hard to get to this point. I'm looking forward to... You're not a member, but you have one? Wait, what? Hanzo, you're not a member, bro? You got to become a member. Clark 2 Kent, you're saying now it's time for more FUBAR. Are you talking about the show? I just started watching that last night. God, it's hard to watch. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to watch. I'm watching it for Arnold, bro. It's not that good. I'm like, man, this is tough. This is a tough watch. But I still like the fact that Arnold's even in something, you know? All right. Guys, thank you so much for the support today. We hit 52 members. Thank you so much for that. Anybody who dropped the super chat, anybody who dropped a direct donation, you guys fund the channel. You guys are the sponsors. You guys make it all possible. And I very much appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who is, such a valuable community member. He does all the timestamps. If you guys see him in the comments, show him some love. Give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates it. Devil Shooter, thank you for what you do, man. I don't know if he's here right now. He did tell me that sometimes on Fridays, the timestamps will get done a little bit later. But, he's good for it. So, yeah, that wraps up. Am I doing the story or side content? So I already completed the story. So it's going to be mostly fighting hordes, and I think I have to find one last enemy encampment or something. But any story content that shows up is like stuff that's like at the very end, like the secret stuff. So if you're worried about spoilers, I don't know. Like if you're playing the game right now and you're worried about spoilers, I don't know that you would want to watch it. But all right, guys, members, I'll see you in a couple minutes in the gameplay stream. To everybody else, we will be back here with another stream on Sunday. And so I hope to see you there. And that's it. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Members, I'll see you in a minute. Everybody else, I'll catch you next one. Take care.